Oh, soon. I see.
Welcome to the Chain Out Podcast.
Hey everyone, Jeremy and Daryl here, and we are doing episode 53. Where are we at, Daryl?
We've only been talking about it all week, Jeremy.
We have,
We're live at Cold Garden.
and it is amazing. This must be the place. I can see it right in front of us here.
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah,
Let me
get
just
our
try.
camera
Can you
going
can you
over
hold that
here?
for 1 second? Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse the setup. It's a little bit janky here, but if I can
We're going
just
to do a little
this.
look around there.
Oh.
So let's see
There
what
we
we
go.
see.
We got
Brody here.
Brody and Luke.
Luke and Heather.
Brody, Luke.
You want to wave for
Hey,
the camera?
guys. How you doing?
Wave for the camera?
Yeah, this is an awesome place.
Yes.
If you ever get a chance to come here when you're down in Calgary, I would highly recommend it. Lots of beers, lots of good people here.
Yes, and you know, when we've had Cold Garden beer in the past, we've had canned beer, right, Daryl?
Yeah.
And when we've had that canned beer, we've had Cake Face or This Must Be the IPA, that type of thing. But what we didn't realize was looking at that big board over there, there's over like about 20 beers and other beverages on tap.
So many choices.
So many choices. And super exciting for that.
Yeah.
So this show tonight, we've got some guests, as you saw, that were, well, some friends of the show.
Yeah,
out to
some
watch.
supporters, followers, whatever you want to call them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have that, but we've also got some guests tonight, and our first guest is here.
She is.
Yeah,
Should
she
we-
is, right?
Yeah,
Pretty
very excited.
Shall we get
We're
to my
excited.
intro?
Go for it.
Yeah, okay, well, here we go. Our first guest is one of Calgary's top FPO players. She is a social media machine, putting out tons of great content. She reached a milestone this year when she hit a PDGA rating of 900. She was our 4th ever guest, and that was on episode 9. Did you
So
remember
long
that?
ago.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
that's right. It's Joe Henderson. Let's welcome Joe to the show.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
And if you see us turning away, that's because Joe's sitting right to their side there.
Yeah.
With the great background of the
Yeah, we
bar
got you on-
behind and everything else.
We got you here. Yeah, awesome. Welcome. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're excited that you came down. The weather's kind of gotten a little bit dicey out there. Hey, how was the drive out?
The drive was actually good. It's only 9 minutes for myself. It's not so long, but yeah, definitely a little bit icy. I chose a sour. I was just telling Daryl I chose a sour this evening so that I could kind of feel like I was on a summer's day because it is not.
Well, and then as soon as you stepped into the building, I'm sure you also found that it's warm in here no matter how cold outside. Daryl's already mentioned that we might have too many layers on.
Yeah, I think I didn't anticipate it being this warm.
And we're so excited to see you again, but the last time that we saw you was kind of a mixture of good and bad. And the good part was that we were able to get some awesome discs that you had just gotten out, and I got even mine signed. And I guess when we're on that, how's the signature coming? You were saying you might work a little bit on it.
Honestly, my name's pretty short. Joe is a pretty short name.
Right.
And I just went with J. It's pretty short, but I don't know if my PDA number.
Okay. Yeah.
Spice it up a bit. So maybe something like that, but we'll see.
That's awesome. Yeah, so that design that you had on the disc, tell us a little bit about how you got to that one.
Yeah, definitely. So I did that design mostly because I feel the most at home in nature and mountains, lakes, forests, all of that is kind of like where I feel like I'm my most Joe self. So that's kind of why I did it that way. And then my good friend Kevin Heichi, I met him at OTB when he helped design Paige's run of discs. She did a 5-disc series. So she had like just kind of a little small allotment that would come out every couple months. But he designed all of her discs as well. So yeah, I just really love his designs. I think he does a really good job. And I was really grateful to have him help out. Should I put this one down? Awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, all good, all
Maybe
good.
They were going against each other there.
Fair, that makes
Well,
sense.
That's really cool with the discs there. Now, I know, did I see a post that you've already sold out of all the discs?
Yes, yeah. So I think I sold out of those actually after the first month.
First month?
Yeah, that I ordered them all. And another round, shout out to them. They helped me out a lot with those discs. They helped me coordinate all of that with Discraft, and that was super helpful. So yeah, shout out another round. So yeah.
Now, are you thinking about doing another run? And
Yes,
will you get a little more
actually.
this next time?
Potentially. I think actually just in the works right now. Another round and I are going to be dropping one more run of the Passions because those sold out first. And honestly, it was so quick that we were like, you know what? We may as well just kind of do another quick run for Christmas. I had so many people asking me. So if you're looking for those Passions, you can definitely get them out on another round site pretty soon. But you guys get the first kind of look into that, so yeah. It will be the same stamp this time, but we're hoping to do a couple other drops next year too, so we'll see. Yeah.
Well, I know a Passion is one of the discs that is the disc that I picked up, and I really do like it.
I love them. Yeah, they're so awesome. Yeah.
So that was the good part about us seeing you when you were at Falcons, but
Yes.
then there was a bad part there where we looked at we had done all of our picks
Yeah.
for the fantasy picks, and Alex Penny
I
had our
know.
team,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden we saw a DNF, and you disappeared, and when you came back, you were sitting in a chair with your foot up. So maybe for the people who didn't know what happened, let's tell them what happened.
Yeah. This is a devastating story for sure. I had started my morning waking up in my Subaru Outback. I got to be camping in my car. I was tournament like at a tournament by myself for the first time. Cam was not with me for the first time ever. So, and Cam's my husband for anyone who doesn't know. But yeah, it was like such a peaceful, relaxing morning. It was amazing. And I was like, I'm just going to shoot so good today. Like, I had the feeling of, like, I'm just going to go out there and be one with the course. It's going to feel so good. And then, putting felt great. All of that felt great. Got to, I think, hole 1, I managed to do, like, a massive par save from edge of circle on that hole. So that was awesome. And then hole 2, I ended up, I think, parring. I think I was -1 through 6 at that time. So I was feeling pretty good. And we were playing Aspen Meadows East. And yeah, so we got to hole 6. I was at my lie. I looked to my caddy, Brett Hanna. He's an old high school friend that I have. And so he was just helping me out caddying for me. And I got to my lie and I was like, jump putt time, right? Like, let's go. And then so I went to go do a jump putt. But the grass was a little bit dewy and kind of wet, and I landed and completely just blew out my ankle. Like, it was, we all heard the pops. There was 3 pops, and I tore 3 ligaments, and it was just the end of my tournament. But I was very determined. I was like, I can finish. Just see whose back am I gonna go on? Like, how are we gonna do this? Like,
You're just gonna throw from the back of the front?
Yeah, exactly. Like take caddy to a whole new meaning, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was amazing that you ended up making it back.
Yeah.
And you got a chance to still kind of be part of the event.
Oh, yeah.
That was our first time at that tournament.
Yeah.
And just the feel of it is just so nice, and
yeah,
remembering Rudy, and just a great way to do that every year.
Definitely, yeah. And I will say, like, the tournament staff was incredible. When I hurt myself, it was like probably maybe 5 minutes, and I had already had a brace on my ankle. I had already been like arranged to get to the hospital in Aspen or in Sundre there, and so I was like, this is kind of amazing that they can do this so quickly with the little volunteers. I know that they didn't have a crazy amount, but like they managed to get it done, and they were amazing and super accommodating. Mm-hmm.
I know when I spoke to you at the course there, I asked you what injury you actually happened, and you said that you tore the ligaments or whatever,
Yeah.
and I said, oh, at least it wasn't a break. And you said that,
Yeah.
Dr. Sport said that maybe that wasn't such a good idea anyway.
Yeah, the nurse laughed in my face. I was like, oh, thank goodness it's not broken. And the nurse laughed in my face, and she was like, oh, a sprain is so much worse, or a torn ligament is so much worse. And I was like, oh, okay, well, great. Here we go.
That was the sad part about it, Joe. But now, walking in here, it looks like you're getting back to normal.
Yeah, definitely getting back to normal. I've been doing physio once a week up until like when I had my surgeries, or not my surgery, but when I kind of figured out what my diagnosis was. But yeah, and it's been good. It's been really good, and every week I'm kind of like learning something new. Like, I'm able to go down the stairs again. I'm able to, I don't know, just kind of walk pain-free, which feels amazing. Yeah, so working out now and getting stronger. So yeah.
Well, we know that you record a lot of content, and we probably have some backup.
Oh, yeah.
But are you actually out throwing this, or some of
Yes.
the ones that we're seeing?
Some of them are live. Yeah, some of them are live now, and which is awesome. Feels so good to be throwing the disc again, and honestly, Cam couldn't really keep me from the course even if he tried. I don't think. There was moments where I was like limping along the course. I'm fine. It's all good. I don't feel any pain as I'm wincing when I'm putting. And he's like, well, I can't, like, you're going to do this to yourself anyway. But no, I came back and my physio said it was okay. So she was like, as long as you don't go to any courses with lots of hills, you should be okay.
No jump putts.
No jump putts. I've actually started a step putt that I'm loving, and it's starting to hit really well. So I'm excited about that too. Yeah. Yeah.
Talking about physio,
Yeah.
we know we spoke to Chantel recently, and she's just getting over a knee injury.
Yes.
And she just made a post recently about how working with her physio, she's finally getting back to it as well. So she kind of
It's incredible. Yeah, physio.
praise for all the physios out there.
We love you. Yes. It's awesome. Yeah.
Well, another thing Joe, is we're coming down here to Calgary. Daryl's been to Calgary a number of times, but has never been down to play disc golf since he started. So one of the questions we kind of put out on social media as we were driving down is, I know it's going to be snowy, but we're still going to try and brave it. Are we, Daryl?
We're definitely.
Oh yeah, you got to. Yeah.
So I suggested possibly Baker, only so that he could see the most played course in Canada on the regular.
I think.
But what are some suggestions? Like, there's that one always in your videos. Is that Forest Lawn?
Forest Lawn, yep. Okay. I love Forest Lawn, mostly because it's only 8 minutes away from my house, door to door. So pretty quick place to get a quick 18 or maybe a 24 if I wanted to. They have 24 holes there, but it's pretty.
Holes at one course?
Yeah. So they have another 6 or 3 baskets, but 6 holes like over across a path. And you can either choose just to do the 18, which is just a big loop around a big hill and a couple big hills. But yeah. And then the other one is just like a quick, you could either do quick 6 or you could tack it on to the 18. So yeah. Okay. But other than that, I'm thinking Curry is pretty good if you haven't played it. It's awesome. They have the new layout right now, which doesn't include the hazards, so it's actually a little bit more fun, maybe.
More forgiving.
More forgiving, yeah.
I'm okay with that.
More fun as in your scorecard will look better. Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then I think probably, though, I was thinking DRM at one point, but with the snow, with the wind.
The wind is deadly at DRM, but I love that course. Love it. Yeah.
It's a good one.
It's so nice to have a choice of courses to play. Like, I know we've got Rundle, we've got
Cambridge,
very close together.
Yes.
We've got Norwester as well, and then Nisco Pisquak, which is a only course. Yeah. But to have so many courses so nearby, awesome.
Well, and we haven't even touched on the ones just outside of town, right? Like
yeah.
The WJ Homesteads.
WJ is so fun. I just wish they could get tee pads, but that course is amazing. Yes. Such fun holes there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So now with Forest Lawn, you do a lot of videos there.
Yeah.
And we tend to see you parking shots from this raised shot.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, I haven't seen it. I don't know if you've, Daryl, but have you hit an ace on that, or what's the closest you've hit?
I've almost hit an ace on that last year around this time, or maybe just shortly after. I had a shot where I did a felon, and I was so close. It was so pure, so perfect, just hit a little bit high in the chains, and then chained out. But other than that, that's kind of like the only one that I've done that close. Other than that, I'm pretty good at parking it. Right. For the most part.
So does that mean we see the felon more often than not when you get back to that one?
I hope so. I usually throw it as my second because I'm like, just in case, I'll just try the felon. Why not? And then if I get an ace on the second one, it's like, well, okay, yeah. It kind of counts, right? A little bit,
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Now, another big thing for this year, we mentioned it in the introduction, is you hit that magical 900.
I did, yeah.
How long has that been coming, and have you been like a lot of people when they're getting close to that big number where every rating day, what are they doing to me? I'm at 899 or I'm at 898.
Yeah, it's like the whole Kristen Tatar, I'm at 1,000, oh no. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, what was it like your feeling when you turned it on and looked at it? Was it just total joy, total excitement?
Yeah, it was, although I definitely hit 900 last year too. So yeah, so I dipped down. Yeah, this wasn't the first time. Okay. So I dipped down, kind of had like a little lull when I injured my forearm. This year has been kind of bad for injuries, just saying. But yeah, I dipped down a little bit, just like I think it was at 889 or something like that. And then I came back up, finally finished at 900, which I felt like proud of myself for getting back up there because it is hard to do, especially with the good competition that we have in Alberta and BC. So yeah, it was really, really excited that I was managed to get back to that 900 rating.
Do you ever set a goal for yourself on ratings? Like, is there a number that you always want to stay around or you want to get to?
Whenever I'm shooting my rounds, I would like to shoot my rating or higher. So whatever that ends up being in that. But yeah, usually I like my event rating to be either at my rating or above, just slightly above. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's good. And I was looking too recently, stuck on them a little bit, but in Canada, and it seems like probably before, or even just say a few years back, we didn't have a lot of FPO players who were above that 900 mark.
Yeah.
But now with Sophia and yourself
and
Chantel and now young Rebecca Dawn as
Rebecca's
well, hitting 900.
charging, yeah.
We've got quite,
Yeah.
quite a group. It's so exciting to see this year the growth in the
It
IPO.
totally is. And I think the reason for all of those women who are doing amazing things and getting that higher rating is that they're going out to play in the States, and that totally makes an impact on your rating for sure. If you're playing against higher rated people than you and you played pretty decent, like, you're going to get a better rating. So
Yes.
yeah, so that definitely helps.
Well, and I
but
think
yeah,
you see that even
good
on the
on them.
MPO side is like you look at Thomas Gilbert.
Yeah, yeah.
And Thomas goes down and he plays in a DGPT tournament and he places not that high, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Even though he's got a great arm in that.
Yeah.
But then he comes up to Canada and he just tears
He
it
just
up. Right?
shreds. Oh, Thomas, yeah. He makes MacArthur Island and Kamloops just look like mini golf. Like, it's just, and here we are just throwing our arms out and we're like, oh, sweet, you just threw a putter on all of those shots. That's cool.
Exactly.
Teach me that one day.
For sure.
Yeah.
So now that you're going to kind of recover over the winter, get that ankle and that
Yes.
back up to speed, what are your plans for next year?
Next year, I'm hoping to do at least one tournament in the States. I'm not sure which one, but I'm hoping to at least do one, and maybe potentially somewhere in California, I've been thinking, but not positive. But I have family there, so kind of makes sense to have a little spot in, I don't know, in California. It's nice and sunny. And then other than that, I hope to hit up all the A tiers, at least in the area, and as many B and C tiers as I can too, because those ones are less pressure, and I find they're quite fun as well. So I always love supporting out our Alberta community here.
You played at Memorial last year.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a question from the chat.
Oh, yeah.
And if I say it's from Tim Plamondon,
Oh, hi, Tim.
can you guess what the question's going to be?
Did I throw a Firebird?
He knows
I don't
you're
know.
a fella. Have you ever thought about switching to the Firebird?
Oh, classic. Yes, I have thought about it. The Felon is just so bread and butter for me. It goes straighter than a Firebird for me. And I don't know, once you're stuck on something, you can't, as Tim knows, once you're stuck on something, it's kind of hard to switch.
You got to throw whatever works.
Exactly. And if I had a plethora of Firebirds, potentially I would change, but right now I have a plethora of Felons, so yeah.
Well, and I'm going to say, the question is from Tim. We know he does have a plethora of Firebirds.
Yes, he does.
So
yeah.
maybe if he's got one that he's retiring that he'd like you to try out.
I
or
would
something.
never retire or take one of his discs. I know they've all been aced with, so I'm like, I couldn't.
There you go. Now, when looking at next year, one of the things that we saw was that Nationals isn't going, it kind of went far east and then west, and it goes far east, but this time it's going central in Ontario, and we've been really weighing it down. We said we penciled it, we think we might have erasable markered it, and are we getting the permanent marker yet, Daryl?
What's this for?
For Nationals for next year.
It's so hard because we got invited out to BC
Yes.
to go play out there. Then we got invited out to Nationals. We've got doubles tournament to do on both sides.
Right.
Oh.
So,
I mean, I think okay.
so my question is, we're
Twist
making
his arm.
a decision. What are you thinking? Are you going to look at maybe heading out there?
That's a tough one for me because it's just when the school season starts.
Right.
So for me, it's super duper tough. If I can get time off at that time, potentially I can weasel my way some time off. That would be amazing. If not, then probably not, just because it's the beginning of the school year. It's just really hard timing for me, but
Yes,
yeah.
that's right. And,
Yeah.
And then what we found that too is we heard that was a problem this year in Clearwater
Fair.
as well. As there are a lot of teachers
Yeah.
or people in the teaching industry that are playing disc golf as well.
Yeah.
And it makes it really difficult for those last end of year tournaments to make them happen.
Yeah.
Especially if they're not on a long weekend, right?
Exactly. Even Falcon's Flight for me is always a tough one because it's like that's the week right before usually for us. So, but that one's nice and close. At least I'm like 2 hours away, right? And I was going to do Clearwater because it was close-ish and I have family along the way. But yeah, that's going to be a long trek. But I guess it's just a short flight when you think about it.
Oh yeah,
So
it's kind of outside of Toronto,
Yeah.
not very far.
Yeah.
At least not for anybody from Alberta, knowing that we go 3.5 hours.
Yeah, you guys just traveled 3.5 hours just to get here, right? Just for today. Yeah.
It's a great conversation.
Exactly.
As well, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So the one thing, you've had some sponsors for a while, but I think you're kind of working a little bit more, some more work with another round. Is that kind of
Yeah. I'm hoping to work a little bit more with them next year, and yeah, I enjoy them. I think they're doing really great things. I love North Carolina, and I'd love to actually go visit there too. So yeah, I love it. I think that they're doing awesome things, and potentially they can even grow to Canada. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah.
Well, we've watched, and it seems like they're opening stores really quite often now.
Yeah.
They're kind of getting some good quality franchisees and really getting out there.
Yeah, it's good to see. This store opening. You can see a few of them are shutting down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go.
They're in markets where they know that they can grow the sport.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and that just goes to show, Joseph's not just a guy running aces. That gets some content out there, but he's really making a difference in the disc golf world for sure.
Definitely. He always says the aces are for the algorithm. I just do it for the algorithm. The rest of it is just like, here's the meat of the content, right? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit more about some of your other sponsors that you have going on right now.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sponsored by Grip Equipment still. Loving all of that, the bags that they have and that they're putting out. They ended up putting out some travel duffels. I don't know if you saw those, but travel sports duffel, ultimate duffel, and then the disc golf duffel. So there's like different sizes for each one. But yeah, they've done a really good job, and I really honestly love working with them. Super easy to work with, and they just make everything super easy because they're super flexible, and you can just kind of put out whatever you want, right? So yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Now, you had mentioned Paige, so we always like to touch base with you. Are you and Paige still working together at this point?
Yeah, definitely. We're working together, and my duties have kind of lessened a little bit just in the last, I would say, year or so since she's kind of gotten back from her injury, but I am still helping out quite a bit, and yeah, love working for Paige, always a big fan. So.
Yeah, and I guess one other thing, we kind of touched base on it before we came on the air,
a
little bit about your experience with podcasting, which you have a lot.
Yeah.
And I know you and Paige did a great podcast for a while there. Has there been any discussion about maybe doing even just a one-off show here or there?
Yeah, you know what? Paige and I would both love to, but we didn't actually produce any of our content or anything like our podcasting. Like, I'm looking at all your equipment here, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know how you set this up, and I don't think that I could. So, unfortunately, I don't think that we'd be able to, just mostly for that alone. But and her schedule and my schedule, it just doesn't quite fit in the beginning of the year, but potentially in the summer. Potentially, yeah.
Okay. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Speak up louder, apparently.
Okay. We'll know as we get going.
Oh, went away.
It's gone.
Well, Joe, that kind of takes me to a lot of the questions that we had for you. Was there anything else that you wanted to bring up at all, or?
Honestly, I just appreciate everyone who's ever reached out and anyone who's reached out, who's seen me on the course and just said, hey, I am so-and-so, I watch all of your content. That means a lot to me, and just wanted you to know that from a person-to-person perspective, like, that means so much, and not just because you're watching content that I create and that my husband creates, but because I love disc golf and I love meeting people that play disc golf. So thank you guys so much, and yeah, I hope to see you all on the course one day. And if you do purchase anything from Grip Equipment, my code is Joe10, and it actually does support me a lot. I'm using all that funds to support my tour for next year, and same with the discs from another round. So yeah, thank you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Joe, for
Thank
coming
you.
down. And we always love talking to you.
Definitely. And I am stoked on what you guys are doing. I just wanted to shout you two out as well. I just think you're doing amazing things for Canadian disc golf, and keep up the good work. And if you ever want to do any more chats like this again, let's do it.
All right. That's awesome. Thank you so much,
Thank
Joe.
you.
Okay, have a
Bye.
good one.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Fantastic. Well, now, Joe, we're
good?
still live. Hi, everybody. We're still here. But you're welcome to grab a beer and take a visit. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, you're just going to keep talking for a second.
Okay, I'll keep talking. So Daryl's going to work on the audio, and I'm just going to chat a little bit. I ended up finding myself, what did I find? I found a Jungle Drip hazy IPA. And I'm not trying to tempt you, but I am trying to tempt you. So this is not something you're going to find in a can. Come down to Cold Garden and find it. That's one of the things that we want to talk about. Another thing, too, is we had a chance when we first got down here, is we went over to Limber Disc Golf, and we got a chance to see Taylor. And if you know Taylor, he usually is sporting a beard very much like Daryl's beard. But when we saw him, he was freshly shaven and looking pretty different. It was almost hard to recognize him. But down there at Limber Disc Golf, they're doing a winter market, I guess you could say, right now. And when we were there was a whole bunch of vendors selling in that. It's just such a great place. So I guess what it is to say is we love Edmonton and we love it up there, but we're finding out that coming down to Calgary, all of Alberta is good. We may have our differences when it comes to hockey teams, football teams, and any other sports team for that matter. But when it comes to having a good time and having things to do and supporting disc golf and supporting, I'm going to say beer, Daryl.
Yeah.
Calgary's got it just as well as Edmonton does.
Well, yeah. I really want to speak to Blake when we get Blake on. One of the questions I want to ask him, is he thinking, is there any possibility that he wants to open a Cold Garden brewery in Edmonton?
How great would that be?
Right. We already have some breweries in Edmonton that have 2 locations. Why have 2 locations in Edmonton when you could have one in Calgary and one in Edmonton?
Hey, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
And I think I should be in charge of some part of the brewery.
Well, is that something, have we shared that on the podcast before? That, you and I think we have a commonality that we've had a number of hobbies over the years. So I've been out there and I've been a marathon runner is one that I think we've talked about on the podcast. I like board games, but you actually had one related maybe to the beverage industry.
Well, for a little time, I think we did talk about it in the beginning. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was when we had Kristen on the podcast. I think we mentioned that in a former life, I used to brew my own beer at home. I have my own brewery set up on a very, very, very macro scale. But I have brewed beer of my own. I've brewed IPAs, I've brewed stouts, I've brewed... Brewed? Yeah, brewed.
Yeah.
Brewed is a word. Just the more I said it, the more it sounded like it was a made-up word.
Well, there is brewed, like I'm brooding.
I'm brewed, yeah.
And then there's...
Brewed, B-R-E-W-E-D. I have brewed stouts, I've done IPAs, pale ales, amber ales. Yeah, I've done a few things like that. I have my own kegerator, for people that know what that is. It's I have a 2-tap kegerator with 2 5-gallon kegs. I did buy a third, but then I kind of stopped doing anything and haven't made a brew in probably a couple years now, but I have thought about getting back into it.
And if Cold Garden is going to move to Edmonton, you would stop thinking about it and you'd start doing it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would take a master brewer course and sign me up. Overnight.
There's got to be one you can sign up for online, right?
Yeah.
Become a master brewer in minutes.
Yeah. Just from one of those
like 7-minute apps
DCI college or something like that. Yeah. Get it in a cornflake packet. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I think he might require a little bit more documentation for that. Maybe a bit more experience, but I can work with him.
That's true.
I don't mind sweeping floors if it's a job.
Oh, there you go.
In a brewery.
Exactly. Well, one of the things too is we are so lucky tonight that we have a lot of prizes, Daryl. And I know we're going to do some of these decisions on the fly.
Yeah.
We do a live episode when we're back home in the studio.
Right.
But this one feels a little bit more live than
Should we try and shout out to the crowd here?
I think so. I think this first giveaway, we're going to have some giveaways to our listeners as well that are listening live with us tonight. But I think we'll do a couple for the crowd that came out to see us.
You tell me what you want to give away.
Well, I think maybe we could start with... Do you want to start with the Limber towel, maybe? So take a look behind you there.
Just that?
And maybe the chain out. Oh, we're doing a live podcast. We're live on the air right now. Right now, yeah.
YouTube right now.
So it's for disc golf is what it's for. For disc golf is what we're doing. Yeah. Cold Garden supports disc golf so much, so. Yeah. We might check it. We're going to check one out tomorrow. Maybe that'll be the one. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for checking in. And we all start that way. So there you go. You get a live.
Do you want to do that as well?
I think maybe we could do the chain out mini, yeah?
I think that works well.
Okay. So what we've got. So do you want to, maybe Daryl's going to go out there and announce it. I'm going to give everybody the question just so they know online as we do this.
Okay.
Is that we're going to do a prize giveaway.
Are we
You
doing
guys
it
can
for
see
online as well?
No, this is going to be for everyone here.
Okay.
So the disc golf trivia question, you can see if you can answer it.
Okay.
Is here's your chain out trivia question, which is going to be for the people here in the building for a chain out mini from Kevin Topping and a limber towel. So Daryl,
Okay, this is going to be a bit hard.
here we go.
Okay.
So,
Okay, this is for you guys. This is for everybody here live. We have a question for a giveaway.
and thank you for
Okay.
being patient as we
It's
kind
for
of work
a
back
chain
and
out
forth here.
mini, courtesy of Redhead Woodworking,
Yes.
and a limber disco towel. The question is. Go right ahead.
Are you ready, Daryl?
Yeah.
All right, you're going to ask it or I'm asking it?
You can ask it for them, and then I'll ask it for these guys.
All right, so the question is,
Okay.
when
Question is,
BC MPO
We had a
player
BC
Miguel Alvarado
MPO, when he
first saw a
started
disc
playing
golf basket,
he
he
saw a
wasn't
disc golf
sure
basket.
what it was.
What did he think it was for?
What did he think it was?
A BC MPO player, when he first started, he saw a basket. If you can name the player, that's a bonus. A BC MPO player, when he first started disc golf, and he saw a disc golf basket,
Daryl's
what did
just
he think
shouting
the
out
basket
there.
was for? Sorry? No, not barbecuing.
It's close. One of the guesses out here, the live guesses, was barbecuing.
It was Miguel.
Dried meat of some sort.
Sorry? No, not camping.
Dried meat.
We'll give some more hints there, Daryl. Maybe think equine related.
Yes, think of something. Horse feeder.
We have a winner.
Alex Penny with the winner.
Alex Penny is the winner. And luckily enough, Alex is going to be a guest here right away as well. So here we go, and we're giving
There'll
away.
be more prizes later.
So that's awesome. Now, Daryl, our first prize was given away. Yeah. And are you cameraing up for our next guest? Okay. So our next guest that we're going to have on and is sitting close by, right in the wings, is going to be, I guess what would you say, almost, Joe is a guest of honor for sure, but it's almost like he's our guest honorable host. Is that how we would say that? I think that might be the case, is that we would say he's our honorable host. So you might be able to guess who that's going to be. And Daryl's just getting our mics taken care of here.
I'm going to try this one more time.
And he's going to try one more time to give our guest the mobile mic. So again, here we go. So, and we're at Cold Garden. It's a Wednesday night, and it's wintry outside, and there's snow everywhere. Yeah, Daryl, how many people are here?
Oh,
What would you
100?
guess? 100 people here?
Easily.
Yeah,
There's
that's.
100 people here? Well, you're not.
We'll get you going.
Push the button up. There you go.
Testing.
You are on.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to ask the chat because we've had a bit of an echo with that mic.
Okay.
So we're going to try it again. I've changed some settings. Let me know if Blake is sounding echoey, but we would like to welcome.
Oh yeah, maybe we should do our intro. Yeah.
Go for the intro, Jeremy.
Our next guest was integral in making tonight's event happen. He is a disc golfer, a small business owner, and I know he doesn't like it when I say this, but the head brewmaster of Cold Garden. He was the lead sponsor of the Cold Garden Cup this year. It seemed like every tournament that Daryl and I went to in Alberta, whether it was Spring Runoff, I went to the Limber Open, Falcons Flight, River City Cup, Blake and Cold Garden were supporting it and we're there.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, and that's why we're here tonight. So let's welcome Blake Belding to the show. Hey Blake, how you doing?
Really, really
Good.
Okay.
What do we got, Daryl?
I was just going to say, if everybody can let me know if Blake is echoing, then we'll work on it after that.
Well, first thing we want to do is we want to thank you for providing the venue. You've provided prizes. You've done so much to make this event happen tonight. Your support of disc golf is amazing. So, like, what is it? What is it about disc golf that has got you wanting to support it in this such a way?
I guess I don't know. I've always loved playing disc golf. I've always loved the community. Anybody I ever met that played was a really awesome person. And so using the brewery as a vehicle to kind of support the sport and support the community in the city and in the province it was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah. And you know, and there's ways to support. So you could have, you know, given some, I don't know, discounts or some apparel or something like that. But
Is the button up?
okay. Do we need to change things up, Daryl?
Just keep going.
All right. So I guess my do I have to put this thing in my mouth? What do I have to do to make it work?
You want me to trade?
Yeah.
Oh, new mic incoming. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well, there we go. So I was going to say, is not only did you just do the normal support that maybe a business would do, this year you and Jordan Alway got together and sponsored, what was it? How many different tournaments? Was it over 14 or somewhere in that
Yeah,
range?
I think it was 13 or 14 if you include the finals at the end, I believe. Yeah. Jordan. Jordan, I got to meet him just kind of through hanging around with Taylor at Limber and taking part in the Limber Open, and then he kind of came to me. He'd been talking about this idea for a little while, and I said to him, if you do this, you know, tournament series, let me know. I want to be involved in whatever way I can. And I wasn't initially planning on being the title sponsor for it or anything like that. It was just kind of whatever I can do to help, let me know. And then, you know, we sat down and had a couple beers last winter, and he came to me with the Cold Garden Cup idea, and I said, absolutely. Tournaments are the best, you know, like I think we all agree, like it's like an endurance, torturous effort that you wonder why you're doing it, but it's like, it's awesome. It's just so much fun. You know, my first tournament I ever played like a few years ago at the Lost Egg, and it was like 40 degrees out, and we were sleeping on the ground, and like just that classic, you know, Badlands Drumheller experience. And afterwards, I was like, that was awesome. Like hell yeah. So it's being able to be a part of so many of these tournaments is just like, I'm so grateful for it. Yeah.
I can definitely relate to what you're saying there, especially with this year's Limber Open, because we had the heat like
That
you
was
wouldn't
hot.
believe.
That was so hot, yeah.
So whether you were playing or for your team that was there with the beer gardens and everything else,
Yeah,
wow.
I had one of our guys that was working at the event with me had me go and change. At one point, I'd been like sweating through my shirt and drying off so many times that I had these sweat stains on my shirt. And he's like, I didn't know because I'm frantically event mode. You're just crazy, right? And he said, he's like, Blake, you need to go change your shirt. You look real weird right now. And I'm just frazzled. I was like, okay, thank you. I'll go do that. Yeah.
Well, and you've done such a good job. And like even seeing tonight, we've got half a dozen people who have come in specifically for the podcast tonight, which is great. And have you found that the disc golf community has supported Cold Garden and your efforts back?
I'd say so, yeah. I mean, even just the warm fuzzies I get whenever I see anybody that knows that I'm with Cold Garden, right? And that's worth more than its weight in beer. But yeah, definitely, I see people in here all the time, and it's great. I don't do as much drinking here in the evenings as I used to. So I'm sure there's more people coming down that I don't even know about. You know, yeah. It's rare to catch me in here at this time of night anymore.
Well, and Daryl and I come down here, and I got a chance to be down here about 2 months ago and come in for the first time. And the thing that when I walked in, I was just so impressed with Cold Garden because it's got such a good vibe.
Yeah.
Like, and even tonight, you can just hear the noise, and it's happy noise. And you know, sometimes you can go into a place and feel like the weight of it, but here the weight isn't there. It's light.
Yeah,
it's
thank you.
amazing. And you got so much space and an atmosphere. Like, how important is that to you to have that here in the business?
That's the most important thing. You know, when we were, you know, day one sitting down writing a business plan, it was kind of like, let's create a place that people want to gather at. You know, and it's not necessarily a place that people want to come and spend money at. Like, that wasn't the goal. We knew that if people wanted to hang out here, they would drink beer, and that's all we needed. And so that was about like letting people bring their own food, and bringing your kids and your family down, whether they drink beer or not. It's okay. Like, just come in and enjoy the space and meet a few people. We keep the music low, and we don't have TVs, so that you end up just conversing with strangers and hanging out and making friends and really making the space your own. And again, so it was just like we had no real, like, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't have a formula. We didn't like sit down and say we need it to look like this or designed like this. It was kind of like, let's just make it an inclusive space that we would want to be at, and we know that other people would want to be at too. And I don't know, we kind of captured some secret sauce, lightning in a bottle here. And people always say to us, like, you should do this everywhere. And we're like, well, I don't know. Like, this is special because it's special, and it's unique. And trying to like replicate it and put it in other areas of Calgary or other cities might take away some of that kind of uniqueness. And so, yeah.
That's not the answer I wanted to hear, right?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
We were just talking about maybe, we have a couple of breweries in Edmonton that have multiple locations.
Yes.
And like, why have two in Edmonton when you can have one in Calgary and one in Edmonton?
Yes.
But,
so, I mean, it's like, not to say it's not something we haven't talked about. It's just, we're scared that we're going to kind of like dilute the specialness that we've created here if we just started popping it up everywhere.
Talking about that specialness, when you said there's no TVs on the wall, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
But now you mention it, there's nothing to distract you. Like you said, keep the music low, have people talk to people, drink some beer. One other thing that I wanted to mention as well is that this is a dog-friendly, pet-friendly beer bar as well. Like, how does that come about? Like, do you just get to decide?
Well, so the dog story is the funniest, because I like dogs, like a normal non-sociopathic human being. I enjoy dogs, but I've never had a dog. So my parents didn't let me get one when I was growing up, and I just never had one. So I didn't understand how close people were to their dogs. And so when we were starting, my business partners says, we're going to allow dogs in here. And I'm like, famously was, who wants to bring their dog to the bar? And he was like, everybody, just wait. And I was like, okay, whatever you say, like, let's do it. And so, like, day one we opened and we just started allowing dogs in here, and which was insane. We didn't, like, nobody said we could. Things were real wild back in the early days. It was a real Wild West in here, It was like felt like a house party every day. And about 6 months into operating AHS in the city of Calgary, walked in and they said, like, what the hell is going on here? You're not allowed to have dogs in an establishment like this. And we said, oh, why not? There's cat cafes and there's this and there's that. And they said, well, you're a food establishment. And we were like, no, we're not. There's new rules for microbreweries that you didn't have to make and serve food, as long as you were only selling the beer that you produced. And so they were really, really awesome about it. Like, AHS kind of sat back and said, oh, you're right. And so they were incredible. And they worked with my business partner, and they worked with my business partner, and then they crafted like a new set of rules for allowing dogs in tap rooms specifically.
Really?
So we were there on the ground floor. Like, we were the first place in Alberta to be allowed dogs in, and away we went. So now there's a few other breweries around the province that do it, and I don't know, it makes sense to me. They're not harming anybody. It's not a sanitation or like sanitary issue at all. Like, nobody's preparing food around here. People are eating food that they brought or that they ordered in. It's like being on a picnic or something and ordering pizza. You're allowed to have dogs wandering around you in the park, right? So, it was funny, though, because they walked in and they said, you're not allowed to do this. And so there was a couple, like about a month period where we weren't allowed dogs while we were working out the new rules and putting in, like, all the criteria. And CTV comes out at that time, and they were like so the brewery that was our first like TV spot. People were interviewing customers as they came in and saying, should Cold Garden be allowed to have dogs? Like, of course they should, Like, obviously it was this big uproar, so that was awesome.
Has it never been a problem?
No, I would say no. There's I could probably count on one hand the number of bad dogs that we've had. I could count on two hands in 1 week the number of bad owners we've had. It's never the dog's fault. But no, 99.9% of the time, the dog's a little stressed out. It hasn't been in an environment like this, and the owner knows. And we can, if they start barking, it's kind of like take it for a walk, go outside. We have treats at the bar and stuff like that. So all of the staff that work here love dogs as well. It's kind of a criteria. And what's hard about that is one of the requirements, one of the AHS rules is you're not allowed to pet dogs if you're on shift. And so it's torture. It's torturous, right? So like you can see people like, oh, nice to see your dog. Yeah. But yeah, no problems. It's like very, very, very few. No one's ever like no customers have ever been hurt or anything like that. Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, and in this space, not only have you have dogs, you have a social environment, you have us here, but when you really look at your social media, like you guys. What event don't you do here is, I guess, what it comes down to.
Yeah, we've really been cranking up the events, especially lately. You know, craft nights and blues, jazz music, and all that stuff. It's a fine balance. We like to do cool stuff, and we want to like bring in a diverse crowd of people and letting everybody know that everybody's welcome here and everyone to feel comfortable. But then you also want to just keep the space as is so that everybody can enjoy it, right? So yeah, we do a lot of stuff. My job is making sure the beer gets made, you know. So I sit in the meetings every week, and I'm just like my eyes are spinning sometimes, and I'm like, what are we doing this week? Like, okay, sweet, cool, I'm here for it, you know. Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the space that you have here.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to mention was that as you walk in, one of the first things you see is a giant, colorful sign that says, "This must be the place." Like, I know you have this must be the IPA.
Yes.
You have things like that. Like, is that a staple? Like, where did that come from?
So we were business planning and we were home brewing, and we had made the IPA. We knew we were going to have one IPA. At the time, we always said we were going to only have one IPA. We lied. We have mini now. But it was a different, beer tastes were a little different back then. So we were trying to name the IPA anyways. One of my favorite songs is "This Must Be the Place," Naive Melody by the Talking Heads.
Okay.
And so I had been in some bars recently at that point in my life that had giant neon signs in them, you know, and I was like, man, that's cool. There used to be this little bar in like an upstairs building down in Calgary, downtown, called the Good Luck Bar, and they had this giant neon sign in there. It was like the size of the whole bar. And so I was like, man, that's so cool. I want something like that. And I didn't know what it was going to say. And then one day I was working my old job. I can remember the day I was driving between Lethbridge and Medicine Hat on that highway right around Tabor.
Okay.
And the song came on the radio. And it was just like, you know, like serendipity. I immediately texted the group chat. I said the IPA is going to be called "This Must Be the IPA," and our neon sign's going to say "This Must Be the Place." And it was like everybody, it was like immediately we knew that was the right thing, right? And now you see like, and I don't want to say we invented it because maybe we didn't, but you can go buy neon "This Must Be This Place" signs on Amazon now, and you certainly could not back in 2017 when we were getting that thing made.
So you're a trendsetter.
Yes, we've set at least one trend in our life. I can say that, yeah.
Well, and I think if we go one more thing with the ambiance and the atmosphere here, is you also see when you walk in this huge gnome hanging from the ceiling, which is essentially a disco ball gnome.
Yes.
But after you get past that and you enjoy that, we took a picture with it earlier, you see there's so many of these around. Look, where do these even come from? Are they custom made or what?
Yeah, so yes, we actually, there's a company in town called Foamworks.
Okay.
And they make props for movie sets and structural foam things. And so they carve the shapes for us, and then we glue those tiles on one by one. And by we, I mean me. This is my main job in the brewery now, is I sit for about a month and a half in the spring, and I glue and snip little glass tiles onto these giant pieces of foam. I used to get a lot of help. The staff used to help me a lot, but I'm a perfectionist, and I don't know. Now it's just kind of cathartic, meditative thing I do. So the original piece was the pineapple. We have a giant disco pineapple, and yeah, you could show it.
We're going to show that on the camera there.
And
see it up there on the ceiling.
And it was our first. I'd always wanted a giant disco pineapple. I don't know why. It was just a thing I'd said for years. And we were coming up to our second ever beer fest. So Calgary International Beer Fest. It's one of the biggest beer fests in Canada. And we have a giant setup for the festival where we have like a 50 by 50 booth. We bring our draft trailer. We have all sorts of action going on in there. It's basically we build the tap room in the BMO Center.
Right.
And I wanted to hang this disco ball. We wanted to hang this giant pineapple disco ball above our booth. So we made it was like right to the last night before Beer Fest, gluing those tiles on. We got it done, like mission accomplished. We hung it up there, and that was all it was ever supposed to be. And then the next year rolls around, and we start planning for Beer Fest. And my business partner and everybody looks at me and they say, "What are we doing this year?" I say, "Oh, that was a one-time thing, guys." And they're like, "No, we got to do it every year." And so now we do it every year. So we have a pineapple, the gnome, a flamingo, the sun, a moon, a clam, and the most recent one was the ice cream cone.
Was the ice cream cone?
Yeah. So
with all of that, have you had anyone ask you like to commission one for you to make one for them?
no, nobody's asked that. They've asked how much they
All
would.
right, listeners, you can now know that he's taking requests.
people have asked to buy them, and I don't have children, but I imagine that the love I feel for these disco balls is generally equal to what a parent feels for its child. And so, yeah. So the price is around $10,000 if anyone's interested. No, they're priceless items. They cost thousands of dollars to make and hundreds of hours, so I don't know. I don't know if we would ever do a custom one or not. But you guys will be happy to hear that we have picked next year's already, and I will never tell what it is. Nobody will ever know until it is unveiled. We do an unveiling at Beer Fest. We have it now. We have tarps and balloons and everything. So you pull the string and the blankets fall, balloons, and then you get to see it for the first time.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That was something that I wouldn't have known. I'm so glad you were able to share that with us for sure. But speaking of those beer fests, what I wanted to say was that Cold Garden, for the last couple of years, from what I can see, maybe more, has gone down to the Canadian Brewing Awards and come back with some hardware. So tell us about not only one medal this year, but you came back with two?
Yeah, we actually, so this year at the Canadian Brewing Awards was a cool year because it was our first year we've ever made like wild ferment barrel-aged products. So we launched these products called Bloom Culture. There's three releases in the series. They were aged, it was like one base beer that was then split into 4 different barrels and inoculated with different wild yeast or bacteria cultures, and then conditioned on different fruits, and they were aged for 3 years in these barrels. And then we took them out and kind of blended some of them with some fresh beer, like fresh sour beer, and left one of them alone, and we bottled it up. It was the first time we've ever done anything like this. And there's a lot of breweries that do this very, very well. Establishment here in Calgary, or the Monolith up in Edmonton. If you guys, I highly recommend you go check out the Monolith. The stuff they make there is amazing. So we were really like proud of this. We thought we did a good job. It was the first time we ever did it. It took 3 damn years, which was crazy. Normally a beer takes 2 to 4 weeks. Yeah.
For sure.
And but they were really good. But other than sitting in the room here and everybody drinking them together as staff, I didn't know if other people thought they were good. So we submitted them to the Canadian Brewing Awards, and we won silver and bronze in that same category, like wild fermented barrel-aged beers.
2 medals in the same
Two medals in the same category, which was like a really cool thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. So do you have some more fermenting for next year? Have you had some going?
No, we don't. Yeah, no, we didn't. We haven't made any more yet. It was such an ordeal, and I didn't think. I knew it was good, but I didn't think it was going to win awards like that. So I was kind of like, that's the only time we'll ever do that. And now, of course, we have to do it again. But yeah, 3 years. Yes, yeah. We probably won't wait 3 years again, but who knows? It was actually our 500th brew. That's why we did it. Yeah, so it was our 500th brew day, and that was kind of like a celebration of that. We've since passed. We did our 1,000th brew day, like a little over a year ago. We made a malt liquor for that, which was kind of the opposite direction of barrel-aged beers. But the irony of it was that we launched those 2 beers about like a month apart because it took that first one so long to get made. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And so what can we expect out of Cold Garden coming up in the future? Like obviously you've got this space, it's thriving, it's doing well. Is there anything else you guys got coming up in the future?
The greatest secret that we have going on that nobody realizes yet is that we've been making wine for the past 3 years, and we're getting pretty damn good at it. And so we have the first year I got some like miscellaneous grape juice out of And that's what it was. The guy who sold it wasn't able to tell me the varietal. I think it was a blend of white variety. It's the same place we buy our apple juice for our cider. And anyways, we made this sparkling wine, and we called it the Laughing Loon. And we almost changed the name to It's Actually Pretty Good, because every time we gave it to somebody, that's what they said. They said, oh, wow, this is actually pretty good. I said, I know. And then the next year, so we bottled that one. Then the next year, we made a rosé. And the rosé, again, it was very good. That one, we turned the entire thing into Slurpee, though, our Frosé Slurpee.
Wow.
And again, it's sold. Nobody really understood that here. They were just drinking this delicious rosé, and I was like, we made that wine. Like, we brought that juice in from BC, like the Kootenay wine region. Like, it's, it takes us months. Wine takes a long time. And they're like, whatever, it's delicious. Hammer back a glass of it. And so then last year, like a little over a year ago, we got Chardonnay, like single source Chardonnay grapes from a grower in Niagara on the Lake, and we had them like rushed out here, juiced and rushed out here. And we've actually been like working on this Chardonnay for a year now. It's about to go into barrels for a few months so that it'll get oaked, and it is spectacular. I am so proud of it. My wife is like a W set level 3, which is a high wine tasting, kind of like a sommelier certification. And even she, I don't think she's pumping my tires, but even she really likes it. So yeah, it's going to go in barrels for a little while. And then we're going to have our own like Laughing Loon Chardonnay that we're going to sell. And I'm really, really proud of it. I'm really stoked of it. And then right now we have on the way here right now, it should be here either tomorrow or Friday, is Riesling juice. So we're making a Riesling next. That's the first. You guys are the first ones to hear that. So that's a big unveil on the pod here. The Riesling's coming, and then so that's it. We're making wine, and then coming from all that is wine cocktails. So you guys will see like an Aperol spritz in a can here from us in the coming months. Yeah.
Well, Daryl, I'm excited for all of it.
Yeah, it just seems like everything that you're saying, like, I don't know if it's, I don't know if you're getting lucky with all of these ideas that you keep doing, but like everything that you've kind of, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. Like, is there anything you've tried that hasn't worked? Because it just seems like you've created the space and it's a hit.
Yeah.
It's an awesome place for people to come and drink. Like, you've got these amazing works of art on the wall and on the
Thank
ceiling.
you so much. Yeah.
It could have been a hit. It could have fallen flat on its face, right? So I mean, that works. You allow dogs in the building, that works. Like,
Yeah.
in this wine over 3 years, it wins awards. Like, everything that you do is committed, and it just, you're just an awesome person, an awesome place.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.
works.
It make me
And
cry.
I think only just to add one little thing to that is the one time, Daryl, I'm going to guess where there might have been a little bit of hesitation. You can tell me if I'm wrong. Is, all right, we're going to make this beer, and it's going to taste like cake, and we're going to call it Cake Face. Was that maybe the only time you might have felt you were hanging one out there?
That one was, no, that story's like, that's another long story. No, that was never supposed to taste like cake. I had a friend who asked me, a very good friend of mine who smokes a lot of dope. He smokes a lot of weed.
Yeah.
And he was like, you should make a vanilla lager, man. And I was just like, that's a crazy idea. I don't think it's going to work. And I did, and it tasted like cake face. It tasted like cake, and we called it Cake Face. It was like complete fluke. And so again, that one just worked out immediately. I don't know. But no, we make some mistakes here. We actually have a batch of beer in the back that we're about to dump in a couple days because it is disgusting. So it's not the first time that's happened. Like sometimes you swing and you miss. We tried to make a pumpkin spice white chocolate stout a couple years ago.
Oh, wow.
And we spent hours like caramelizing pumpkin over at Spalumbo's on their big pans, and like so many ingredients, spices, and like all this stuff went in there. We spent weeks on this beer, and it was gross. It was so vile. We mashed it through a pumpkin. We like hollowed these big pumpkins and like ran the wort through the pumpkins. It was insane. I've never been that much ever, and it was so gross. And we were like, well,
I think you maybe took it one step.
yeah, we're like, that one's not gonna work. Like away she goes. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to wrap up with you. If that's
Awesome.
okay, but is there anything that you wanted else to say or shout out before we kind of move the show along?
No, just thank you guys so much for what you do. Thanks for coming down here, and we'll see everybody at the Cold Garden Cup Tour next year.
Yeah, that's, I guess, another thing we should say is that it's coming back next year.
It's coming back. We have I think it'll be a bit fewer tournaments, like less tournaments. But yeah, no, it'll be back. Jordan worked his ass off this summer, and I saw him at the very end. He was just downtrodden and beaten down from running a million tournaments. So I said, let's wait a couple months and then we'll have a beer and talk about next year. So
Yeah.
I think this is about the time. You'll get a text from me soon, and we'll start planning it.
We can't wait. We know we enjoyed all the events we were a part of this
awesome.
year, that you were a part of, and look forward to being in them again next year.
Cool. Awesome, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Okay,
Matt.
cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. So, Daryl, how awesome is this? I'm just loving the field tonight.
Everything.
Yeah, you gonna grab the other mic there? Okay. Yeah.
On the camera, we're doing it this way. Yeah. Nope, I'm not on camera.
Just move it out, move it in. It'll all work out.
It'll come around.
So, but yeah, like, and those stories about this place, it
Yeah.
just makes you like it even more.
Exactly. Like you were saying, like so many ideas that you could have to have a hit after hit after hit after hit of all the different things that, like, I mean, Kristen has said it in the chat here that she doesn't think that he should move to Calgary. Let me go back to the totally agree. Don't dilute your specialness.
Yes.
Right?
Fair enough, Kristen. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we want to be greedy and we want to have this thing up in Edmonton, like, it's just an amazing place, amazing vibe. It is a it's a one of a kind place. There's so many great ideas, and they all just seem to work.
For sure.
Yeah,
Well,
and then
Go ahead.
what about Blake? Like,
Blake.
such a great guy, such great stories that he can tell. You know, I want to have a beer with him afterward for sure.
Yeah, I think we need to have him on again, but maybe that's a Patreon special or something like that. We'll do
I think that could
an
be.
interview
Yeah,
for that.
that would be a great one.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one of the things is that Blake gave us some items to give away too, because not only do they make beer,
Yeah.
they make wine, they make all these different things, including foam disco balls.
Yeah,
They also decided to have some discs made as well. So why don't we show those off?
we should, shouldn't we? This must be the distance driver.
Do you see a pattern here?
Well, yeah, maybe.
This must be the distance driver.
This is a destroyer.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Yeah, take a look at that. There we go. And if you're wondering, it's 167 grams.
This one, this must be the fairway driver.
All right, we got a fairway driver.
So we
here.
got a leopard.
A leopard. So I'm starting to see a trend here, Daryl, that you might be enjoying.
Exactly. If you're going to give disc away, or if you're going to make good discs, you got to make them out of good discs.
Yes.
This must be the mid-range. Oh no, actually, this is the mid-range cake face,
Oh.
and that's a rock.
Okay, we got a rock here. Yeah. Again, we got a 167. I think they're all similar weights there. And then I think obviously if we've got a distance driver, a fairway driver, a mid-range, there may be one left to go. And
There is, but I can't see the name on this one.
well, if
But
we're sticking with
well, you would,
Nineveh,
yeah.
there's only one that likely is.
it's probably an AVR.
is what I'm going to say.
This is the all-nighter vanilla cappuccino putter, which, funnily enough, is the beer that I was drinking. Was the vanilla cappuccino porter.
And how did you like it?
Well, I mean, can you tell? There's not much left in this glass. I think I might need to go to the bar in a minute. You might have to take over in a second,
Well,
Jeremy.
we can do that, Daryl. Well, I think what we should
Yeah.
do is before that,
Before we
why
give
don't
them-
we give a couple quick prizes away?
Right.
So first,
Are we
thing
gonna
we're
do
gonna
this for
is
the chat?
We're going to do both. We're going to do 2 of these discs for the people here.
Yeah.
And we're going to do 2 of these discs for the chat. So what will
Sounds
happen
good.
is we'll let the live people, because they're down here,
Yeah.
pick the 2 they want. The 2 that they don't pick, those 2 will go to the chat. What do you think? Or you don't like that idea?
I don't know. That's a bit controversial.
All right.
Okay, no, that's fair. People down here get their first pick.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't get. Yeah, okay, I know what you're saying.
Okay.
I'm liking that.
So what we're going to do is the question is, Jeremy,
So where are we going first?
we're going to go
We're gonna
out
go
to the audience.
We're gonna go out to the audience.
Yep. And we're
Okay.
going to go with the first
So
question.
Daryl's gonna have
got the
to-
question. We're
Daryl's
gonna give you
gonna-
guys an idea what the question is. The question is that Jeremy,
Well, it doesn't matter about.
we're just telling you what it is so
Yeah.
that you can play
Like, you
along
got
at
4
home
questions?
for this one. No, we're doing one. There's 2 discs for each question.
Okay, you got 2 questions.
1 question, 2 discs, and then I got another question here.
another 2 discs. Okay.
Okay.
So
So
which-
the question here
Yeah.
is Jeremy and Daryl have been battling all year with their ratings. Who currently has the higher rating, and by how many points?
So if they just, I mean, obviously, if they guess who is who's the higher rating, they're just going to guess it's 50-50.
Right. So then they have to tell us how many points difference are we at.
Do you want to? Well, okay, I know the answer.
You know the answer.
Okay.
And I think you guys know at home.
You may not be able to
so-
hear me, but I'm going out into the open again.
Yes. So Daryl's heading out. He's going to go ask the group. We've got Thomas Grban here. We've got Ryan Bonner here. We got Alex Penny, Joe Henderson. We got Brody here. We had Luke and Heather here. What a great show. And Daryl's going to go out there, and I've kind of, you can see what's going on. He's got the camera. I can maybe do a
Okay, we have
play-by-play.
another
This brings me
giveaway.
back
We have another
to my
giveaway.
old
Okay, nice to meet you.
volleyball days.
Up there.
So you can see he's
Okay.
showing the table where everyone's
So,
sitting and
we have
hanging
4
around and
discs.
having a beer.
Sponsored,
And he's gonna go
given
and
to
ask
us,
them the
donated
questions.
by Cold Garden. We're going to ask a question. Whoever gets it right, you get a choice of 2 discs. And then the other 2 discs we're going to give away to the chat.
All right, he's just explaining the rules now. You might be able to hear him, might not.
So the question is,
So here he goes with the question. Let's
Jeremy
see how
and
expertly
Daryl
he asks it.
have been battling each other with the ratings. Who is winning the ratings? And what's the difference between our ratings?
As of the last rating day, phones
So-
are allowed, so if you don't already know. So who's ahead?
So you say me, you say Jeremy.
So we got a guess for Jeremy.
Jeremy by 2.
Oh,
You're
Thomas
close.
says Jeremy by 2. He's close.
Jeremy by 3 is wrong.
Brody's close as well.
No.
Yes,
by
we have
1.
a winner, Ryan Bonner. Jeremy by 1. He guesses it correctly, and then he's going to get to pick a couple discs. While we're at it, I'm going to bring it back. We'll let you know which discs they are. And this is where we're going to see this in the comments. So when you're in the comments, I'm just letting Daryl talk there. Daryl, I'm going to give the listeners the question.
I'll tell you which discs are
And Daryl will tell us the discs in a minute. So, what we want to know, and you guys can look this up, so you've got time to do that. Who were the FPO and MPO winners of the Cold Garden Cup this year? So that's what we need to know. So Cold Garden Cup happened over the year. We might as well talk about it as we're at Cold Garden. And we want you to let us know who were the FPO and MPO winners. And for our listeners back home in Edmonton, and what you're playing for, we have an AVR and a Destroyer. So those are going to be the 2 different discs that you're playing for here. So as soon as Daryl sits down, he'll start looking at the chat, and let's see if anybody's guessed who the FPO and the MPO winners are of the Cold Garden Cup this year. Well, I say they can Google if they want. Crystal says no Googling. I think that's because she probably has an idea of at least one. As we said, one of them is from the Edmonton area. The other one was just in Australia. So if
Well,
that
you're giving
helps
all
you
the
with
clues
it.
now.
Well, we want to get some good guesses here. Keep the show moving along.
So Kristen Swirl says Terry Hong and
Yes.
Casey Hannemeyer.
That's not what I saw. Is that what you saw?
That's the thing that I sent you. I think your information might be outdated, because according to the Canadian Disc Golf Tour website,
That's the Canadian Disc Golf Tour.
what was the question you asked? I thought that was
asked
what it
about
was.
The Cold Garden Cup.
Oh, the Cold Garden
Not the
Cup.
Canadian
Sorry.
Disc Golf Tour. So Terry Hong is right. That is the correct answer for the first one, Kristen.
Sam Western, Noah Higgins, and Terry Hong.
Sam Western, look what's coming to you, buddy. We're going to bring these back to Edmonton.
A nice Cold Garden Destroyer and AVR.
Yes, we'll get them to you.
Congrats, Sam.
So I think what we should do, Daryl, is we've given away some more prizes.
Yeah.
Why don't we get our next guest on the show?
Should we give him a nod?
Yeah, we should give him a nod. I think he just actually won a prize as well.
Yeah.
So if you want to, did you want to get up and grab that beer
Well-
and bring that guest over?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, let me.
If you're doing that, maybe grab 2.
And don't forget, if you are down here and you're listening, if you mention Chain Out Podcast, we're going to buy you a beer. It's free. Come down, say Chain Out Podcast at the bar, and you get a free drink.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
We're buying people beer, Jeremy.
I think what we got to do is for our Edmonton listeners there, we just had a great time at another brewery the other night, and maybe we can talk to them about doing an event like this as well. All right. Yep. Yeah. All right. I'm going to be, guys, this is a first. Daryl is actually going to let me push buttons, and these are real buttons. This isn't just pushing his buttons. That's for sure. So that is something that's exciting. But I've got our next guest. He's coming over. Daryl's going to grab a beer and get that in his hand. And we're going to talk to an amazing, of course, another person from Calgary here. I believe another person in the education world and someone who's been making waves on... Sorry, what's that? I will take that jungle drip again, please. So I'm getting a beer too, yes. Thanks for everyone for being so patient with the, can I say, the fluidity of this episode as well. So as this gentleman comes to sit down, and go ahead and have a seat, sir. You bet. I'm going to do a little bit of an intro for you, and then we're going to put you on the camera. So,
okay, buddy.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Our next guest has helped many of us make better disc golf decisions. How, you may ask? Well, by his amazing reviews of products. And not only does he show us the products, but he also gives us great and thoughtful opinions. He gets his hands on them, does unboxings, all sorts of things like that. So as Daryl sits down with beverages here, let me introduce our next guest, local disc golf's own Ryan Bonner. Welcome to the show, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How you guys doing?
Great. This has been, how amazing is this?
What a vibe.
Have you been here before?
I have been here just a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago for the very first time. And it's funny, we were sitting literally at the table where you're quizzing us, and literally right there. And I actually picked up my phone, I messaged Joe Henderson, and I was like, we got to do a chat here.
Here?
Yeah, I was like, this is too funky of a place. We should talk about your season next year. You guys beat me to it.
Well, I'll tell you this, Ryan. We kind of scratched the surface with Joe with what you could do in 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
But I think a beer with local disc golf would be a great one. And if you want other people to come join it, I think I know two other guys who could be part of that.
I would love that. This is a great setup.
Yeah.
Such a good vibe tonight. This is great. I needed this.
Did you?
I did need this. This is awesome.
So you've got, and you just won a couple discs.
I did.
Pay attention. You know who's in the lead. It does change hands quite regularly.
1 point right now. That's tight.
Yeah. Joe was so sure that I was winning.
I know.
You was winning. And I'm like, yeah, but I did the get in, get out, get rigged, and
you
lost
were
a couple
winning.
points.
So that's it for sure. So it's great to see you again. That's one of the things I wanted to put out there. And not everyone may know, but you were on Chain Out Podcast once before. And when
That's
I looked
right.
back, I saw that it was for our third Fantasy Picks episode, and that's when we picked for BCO.
Right.
Now, on that show, we all had some great picks, but it seemed to become a common occurrence that someone else found a way to take us down. What was your thoughts of being on that show and how the feel of trying to make those picks and trying to beat this guy?
You know what? I love that you guys are doing this because it's putting a spotlight on Canadian disc golf, and it's if you're a fan of the sport like we all are, there's so many podcasts doing like the Pro Tour and that, but to put a spotlight on the Canadian scene is like, it's so important for us here. I'm so excited to see what you guys are doing. It's so exciting. I think the first episode I saw of you guys was Andrea Michaud, who had come on, who ironically was like a firecracker coming into like my Patreon community. So excited. And when I saw that, I put a message out. And at that time I was like, I don't even know what this is, but like, I'm going to tune in because you're in my community now. You're my family. And to see that happening is fantastic. I mean, I had some sleepers in that fantasy, just to circle back, but I wanted, it was, if I had it to do again, I might have handled it a little differently because you don't know who other people are going to take. And I had some sleepers that I ended up kind of sitting on being like, oh, I didn't get to them. Like,
right.
It's simple math, really. It was just picking, was it 3 each or something?
Yes.
But anyway, I was just like, I thought we were going to go, and all of a sudden I was like, oh. I totally wanted to put some of my, like, pardon the term, but my local guys, I wanted to give them that shout out on there. And I was like, anyway, it was fun. I had a great time that night. And I think any conversations around these players, and to hear, even at our table tonight, people talking about, like, all of a sudden these names are becoming like common names, right? We're hearing Alvarez, we're hearing these names, and it's fantastic. I love what you guys are doing.
And I wouldn't put too much thought into your fantasy picks. I proved that you don't really need to have a strategy. You just need to wing it. And sometimes even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Yeah.
Is that the saying? Yeah.
Well, but you found it almost every single tournament is what it was.
It just goes to show it wasn't lucky, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I'll take it.
Well, with that being said, can we count on you to come back for maybe an episode next year? Would you be up for
Absolutely.
that?
I mean, I don't know if you saw, but we're repping our Team Canada shirt today.
Yes, that is great.
From the
Fantastic.
Australia tournament that just happened. We finished third, I think, right? Canada
Yeah,
finished
we
third in that.
Third. And it was in a playoff that we ended up getting knocked down there, wasn't it? Again.
That putt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the putt that's been seen around the world.
Yeah, especially for Canada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we even heard actually. I don't know if you knew this, but I was listening to Tour Life.
Yeah.
Even Brody and Yuli were talking about it.
But
and
the putt was
arguing
high.
Whether, and was it really a spit out or was it not? Right?
Yeah.
Everybody's saying that the putt that was high. I don't think it was high. Do you?
I don't think it was that high, but I mean, if it was lower, it was probably like I hear both sides.
Yeah.
It was dead center, so that part's frustrating.
And we need to clear something up for Dave Ross, because I'm sure the poor guy. Everybody thinks it was Dave Ross maybe because that was on the back of the jersey. But I don't know what was going on. Stu McKissick was borrowing his jersey, so. And it was funny. Stu put up a nice post, and he's like, Dave Ross has finally broke the silence on the putt.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's great. But you know, one of the things we didn't get a chance to talk about when we had you on the show there was about local disc golf and everything that you're doing there. And you know, we think we're doing our part with our little podcast, but you've been making some pretty big waves, doing reviews and such. Tell us about how you got that started and where you're at today.
I mean, I've been really fortunate. I was doing some stuff musically for a little while, then the pandemic hit, and I kind of pulled back from that. So I think, you know, when that happened, I was doing some video work already. I couldn't get out and gig anymore as a musician, and video was starting to really interest me. I've been playing disc golf for 20 years this year, actually, and it's so cool to be like a part of a sport at this time. Yes, down the road when the payouts are bigger and all that stuff, that's going to be a fun time. But we get to be part of a sport at a time right now where it's still very much in its infancy, and as people were coming out with these unique items at the time, I just found myself, I was looking for information on those items and it didn't really exist, and I thought, well, let's have a little fun, like let's kind of see what happens here. I expected to make a few videos and not really do much with it, and people keep coming out with unique products and fun stuff, and I think what's cool is, all of these people, they're trying to make disc golf more a part of their life. They're trying to find their place in it, just as I am, as you are. Right. Trying to get a little bit of it right now and enjoy, like the media side, product development, all of these things, and that part is, fantastic because I get to interact with these brands and I get to see them in their like early stages and talk to them, and they're so excited to see these videos coming out, and all of these products are trying to solve a problem that they saw in the sport, and if these things are making the sport more enjoyable, more efficient, whatever that might be, or more successful, that's exciting, and I'm just happy to make some videos that people are enjoying.
Yeah. Well, speaking of videos and enjoying, I just watched the Ridge Roller bag one that you did there. So that was the one where you've got your power. What do you call it? Your power pocket on your Zuka cart, and they bought the Ridge Roller carts out there too. So Ridge Roller came out with one. But one of the coolest things I thought about that one is you can take it off.
Yes.
And then you can put it over your shoulder, and you've got like a 5-6 disc bag.
Yeah.
And I know not everyone might have known because you've got people watching from all over the place, but you mentioned there's a course around here where you got to go up this big, huge hill.
Yeah,
that's got to be WJ Homestead.
I saw you at a tournament. That was the tournament. You know the one, the NADGT in June, and I was reluctant to bring my cart, and then I thought, man, with this bag, I just need to get up this hill for a minute, and so totally like a very practical use of that, and I think those little things, with someone that's played for so long, I can, kind of highlight those little pieces of an item that, break the mold a little bit from what else is happening, and you get to see that those brands are actually influencing other brands. And I like nerding out over that stuff. That's the core of it.
Well, and also, Daryl, what do you think right now? What's going on at this time of year? Snow's starting to fall. There's a holiday coming up, right?
It's getting that time of year. Yeah. Everyone's going to want gifts.
Yeah.
What better gifts for a disc golfer than someone who knows something about gifts?
Yeah. So with that, Ryan, can we throw it at you? Christmas is coming.
Christmas
Everybody
is coming.
Listening to this is either a disc golfer, well, likely a disc golfer, but may also have a disc golfer in their life somewhere, and they're trying to think of, what do I get this person? You're the guy who's reviewing stuff. Do you have any ideas of things that might make a good gift or a good stocking stuffer?
Totally. Yeah, I think what it comes down to, there's two things you need to think about. There's obviously budget, which decides like sort of where you go with that, and it's also, unfortunately, like for our partners that maybe, if your partner plays, fantastic. If your partner doesn't play, then that's the part where, you kind of need to like get a sense for like the kind of player they are. We have such a variety of people that are experiencing the sport in so many different ways. And you have the casual disc golfer, the one that like, loves to just go out in the evening, play a glow round. Some are like really focused on tournaments. So, I mean, understanding like where that person like is, how they're utilizing their game. Maybe they're a collector. We've done so many different videos, and I guess I would say like, you can always send me a message if you're, looking for some guidance there. We've been doing a lot of reviews lately on glow devices. I feel like glow is kind of blowing up right now. I feel like, Innova's finally showing up with some good glow with this proto glow that they've just kind of come out with. And I feel like Innova's kind of like the Apple in disc golf a little bit.
Yeah.
They're not the first to things, but usually when they get there, like, it's like Apple's it's usually the one that is like designing the thing, but they're kind of perfecting it. Like I remember when the tour, everyone was signing these big contracts, and Innova kind of wasn't participating in that stuff. And now things have pulled back a little bit, and now it's like, oh, well, man, look at Innova. Like, maybe they did know what they were doing that whole time. So, I did bring a couple things just to show here to talk about briefly to answer that question.
That's awesome.
For the disc golfer in your life, I brought a book today. This is a great read for the like philosophical or strategic disc golfer. It's called 3 Paths to Better Disc Golf. Jack Tupp. I've actually been in touch with Jack, and we're maybe, fingers crossed, one day, but I'm talking to him about actually helping him with the audiobook for this, because I really enjoyed this book. It's about finding that flow state, and I think it's a great read.
3 Paths to Better Disc Golf. Jack Tupp. So is that one there, for people who are interested in it, is it, a lot of places it's usually Amazon you can find it?
Available on Amazon. I think that's where I got it, for sure. Right. We've just gotten a couple of glow devices, so if glow's a thing, I feel like this time of year where the days get shorter, glow becomes more popular. And I think that's something that kind of sets disc golf apart a little bit, where this is a sport that can be done at night and can be done at night like fairly successfully. It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
It's a different vibe. Sometimes the course is a bit quieter. I'm a huge fan of it. And so we have 2 products that we're doing right now. I've just finished this video. It's not even out yet for the Resonator Pro. It's just essentially like a glow box, built-in battery, bristles here to keep the light pollution inside the device, so you're not like blinding the people on your card.
Your eyes. That's one of the things with some.
The battery in it's good for 10 to 14 rounds. So you charge it once USB-C, but it lasts even charge. An excellent device, fits in basically most pockets. Talked to the owner yesterday. The demand is crazy. He's having trouble keeping up with it. So this is very cool. This one here is called the Firefly. Sorry?
What's the name of that device?
The Resonator.
The Resonator.
Yeah.
Nice.
The Resonator. And we have the Firefly here from Glow Labs. This is another one here. Very interesting little drop-in, push button activated, so you're not burning the light out on it. Anyway, if glow's your thing, those are a couple of great options. That's the Firefly from Glow Labs. I think they were at USDGC, and I think they sold out at that. So glow is definitely a part of the sport that's growing. You got stuff like Putt Confidently with their Target. It's great for the person that's trying to improve their putting. Rangefinders, hand warmers.
Isn't trying to improve their putting.
It's phenomenal. The Solo is a great device because you've got a target on one side, you can turn it around and just throw at the basket, and after you've been putting at a small target, the basket feels huge after that, and that's all you want, is to be throwing at a basket that feels huge, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Those are some great ideas, hey, Daryl?
Yeah,
Which one don't you want?
I
want them all.
I'm not much of a book reader, but I love audiobooks, so if that's the thing.
And that's why I reached out to him, because I was like, same thing with me. I spend a lot of time in the car between like to and from work and that, and I find I listen to a lot of books these days. I'm like, man, that doesn't exist. And it's kind of like Local. It's the story of Local. It's, this didn't exist, so I'm going to make it. And there wasn't an audiobooks, and I was like, so nothing's confirmed yet, but he said he was busy with other projects right now, and I was like, well, I know that people would like to listen to that. I'd be on the course listening to it,
Absolutely. I mean, Sam in our chat said he loves an audio disc golf book. They're great for when I do dumb stuff like drive to Lethbridge and back in one day for a tournament.
What?
For
Lethbridge and back?
For a 2-rounder, yeah. So
Wow.
I just downloaded the Scott Stokely audiobook.
Oh.
I haven't started listening to it yet, but I know Edmonton disc golfer Mike Carey said he listened to it.
Okay.
We had Scott on the podcast, obviously, so I really want to listen to that, listen to his story. So yeah, I'd be really interested to listen to that.
Well, the only thing, Ryan, is I think in part of that you were suggesting that maybe you could help do the audio for the audiobook.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. I'm a big Seinfeld fan. I'm in that group. And there was a time there where George needed an audiobook. And he got an audiobook, and the guy sounded exactly like him, so it didn't solve the issue.
That's
How
true.
would that be for you for listening to an audiobook done by yourself?
There's some great effects out there now. I could probably put on some sort of like Barry White filter, go real deep and soothing with it, or maybe you can have some imagine being able to choose. I mean, with AI, we're probably there, right? You can just choose who reads it to you. I want Morgan Freeman to read me a disc golf book,
Well, we've talked about it before. Another shout out. Can we get a Gabby Lee filter? That would be the
Gabby Lee reading me disc golf? Yes, that's it. I'm in heaven.
Buttery,
Cold
right?
Garden beer.
Buttery smooth.
I would be a better disc golfer before the first paragraph was done. Fantastic. Well, when I was kind of perusing your content there, Ryan, you're not just doing reviews. I've seen these amazing course reviews that you've done, and you've called them kind of a quick cut course review.
Yeah.
So you've done, is it just the 2 that are up right now?
2 are up right now. Yeah, there's more to come. What happens is I'm a teacher myself, and so summers I have a little bit more time for it, and then fall comes and school gets busy. So I was actually just talking to Joe off to the side there, and we filmed a mic'd up round last year that still isn't out, that I need to get done. She's like, do you still have that? I feel like I threw pretty well that day. And she totally threw well that day. And maybe that's why I haven't posted it, because I just couldn't find the disc that day. But we've had a good time with that. We're actually, I'm heading down to Florida to play the Olympus course at Christmas time. And I'm pretty sure that course is just going to work me. But a quick cut round there will be good too. I think it was sort of, just trying to think about making it as efficient as possible. Sometimes it's great to sit and watch a round where people are explaining all their shots. Joe's a fine example of that. I love watching her content because she talks through things. But I think sometimes I can ramble on for hours. You guys are going to have to check your watch here because it'll be, oh gosh, we got to get this guy off. But I was just trying to make it pretty efficient, and I think once it starts, if you're getting the bare bone information, a quick flyover, and it happens quickly, you're going to enjoy that content a little bit more.
Right.
If you can see the whole flyover, the information, and it was just trying to I'm a fan of long form content. I consume it all the time. I'll do a little bit with shorts, but my main content is long form, so I'm just trying to shorten my long form instead of making short content.
Right. Well, that's awesome. I really enjoyed them. I like the Okotoks one. Looked like and you had a great round on that course to boot, so that doesn't hurt as well, hey?
Those don't hurt, yeah. And I mean, it was fun. We've got family in Saskatchewan, so to get to shout out, Saskatchewan disc golf and get to different parts of the country. We're in BC usually in the summer, and I want to do a Wycliffe round there. And again, just get worked over there. It's beautiful, but and I love a course that just kicks your butt.
Right.
I don't know why, but I don't know why I'm a fan of that. But there's something about it that I'll play Nordic Center over something else here that is just
I think
ruthless.
You call it glutton for punishment. I think is that the term?
Well, those and when you hit your line, it feels all the sweeter there too, right?
Even if it is is the fourth throw, right?
Yeah, when it's
It proves that you can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
when it's Joe's second throw with the felon, right? It's still there.
It's still there for
Yeah.
sure. No, that is awesome about that part. And I got to look here. I've got my mine here. What else did we have there? I had something else. You had a question, didn't you?
Well, I just wanted to give Ryan a bit of a shout out. I don't know if you noticed which camera I have,
Ooh.
but when I was upgrading my camera equipment, I don't have the lens yet.
Yeah.
But speaking of Ryan, if you've ever seen any of Ryan's videos, they're so, in the beginning, like we mentioned, we spoke to Joe back in episode 4.
Yeah.
At that point, you kind of said, okay, we need to step up our game. Joe's content and the way that she looks and she's lit, we need to elevate our game.
Right.
After interviewing Ryan and seeing how well he was lit and the background and the lighting, I was like, I gotta get that camera. What camera do you have? So he mentioned that it was a Sony EV10 with the lens, the Sigma lens.
Yep.
I don't have the Sigma lens, but it's the stock lens that came with the kit.
It's a start.
I think it's improved.
Oh, yeah.
quality.
Totally.
So I want to give you a shout out. I'm nerding out a bit now. Like when I talked to Blake about beer, I'm nerding out a bit. Now I'm talking about podcast equipment. So thank you for that.
It's a fun time because, like a lot of people consume just from listening, but I also love to consume podcasts through video, even if they're just sat at a desk or whatever. I enjoy that. And if we're going to bring content out and you're able to, obviously our phones do an incredible job now. But if you can up it that little bit and it brings it that little bit extra, and the brands that you're representing appreciate it and you have fun, with that stuff, if the opportunity ever presents itself to do more with it, and that's been a really fun part of it as well. I think one of the videos that I'm probably most proud of would be the James Koizumi video we did trying to promote him for the PDGA Board of Directors.
Yeah, he's
and
got to get there. It's just a matter of time.
Totally.
He's gotta get there.
But we had a lot of fun creating that in more of a documentary style, and it's fun to continue to try to push the envelope and try to improve your content. We're always growing, we're always improving. Even confidence on the mic, I can hear a difference. I'm sure you guys can too. But from episode 1 of Chain Out to now, there's a flow. You guys have you guys find your roles in it, and it's a fun thing. So I'm happy to nerd out over the creation side too.
That's the thing. Over the last few weeks or last few months, I guess, I've had a lot of people when I tell them that I do a podcast, they say, "Oh, I thought about doing a podcast. Like, what do you need?" I'm like, "Well,
You could start with a camera,
you can do it on your
Or a
phone.
Yeah.
But it depends. If you want to upgrade it a little bit, you need better mics. Because obviously you're going to do audio podcasts, you want better sound. When you come to the video, well, yeah, you can do it on your phone, but you need a little bit better quality. You get out of it what you put into it. And I think, like you said, if you're going to do a video podcast, make it look as good as you can, which is why we have the lighting. We don't have the lighting set up today, but that's just an on-location thing. But normally, we have lighting, you know what it's like. You have the color background, you have the film light, you have the spotlight, you have a good camera, you have the good focal length, and depth of, it all comes down to you get out of it what you put into it.
Absolutely. I've had this year especially, it's been such a fun year, through that James video. I actually connected with Zoe Van Dyke and Dustin Keegan of Uplay.
Yes.
And I ended up this year, I pulled back a touch from local because opportunities started to present themselves working with Uplay. I actually edited their Community Connect videos this year that appeared on Disc Golf Network, which was just an amazing experience to work with them and to see, as a teacher myself, seeing them doing things in education, video, and disc golf feels like a colliding of 3 worlds right now that just has me excited to see the sport, because we all know that right now, in order for all of us to benefit and for all of us to grow, the sport needs to grow, and to see that grassroots work that's happening there, I love it. I'm so excited to see the growth of media and the increase in media. There's so many disc reviews now, there's no shortage of it now. I feel like when I first started right around the pandemic, I guess the first video came out in May of 22, I think it was. And I mean, at that time, like I say, I was creating just because there wasn't any information on some of the products that interested me at that time. And to see the growth of it and how many people are creating, because we consume so much more content now. Most people have content they consume rather than than television or traditional media, and all of that is helping the sport. So to see all of the people that are creating all the podcasts, all the stuff that's happening, you can't help but be excited.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think with that, one of the things everyone can do is that it's supporting local disc golf, it's supporting Chain Out, supporting Cold Garden, supporting Limber. And if we can do more, and that's really what we've been all about, is just trying to bring more Canadian content out there, because we can all enjoy to watch the pros that are in the US playing on the DGPT, but if we can support Canada, it's just going to make it better for us. We're going to get more courses. James is going to get on the board, and if he gets on the board, that's going to be amazing. There's going to be so many things that can happen that way. So do what you can, and that's why we want to do these events too. So.
And truthfully, like one of the things that's interesting about this, when I first started, you think you have to do it in a certain way, or you've got to kind of like act like a pro. I know when I first started doing like disc reviews, I was nervous to explain like how far I was actually throwing, because I thought, oh, people are not going to tune into this.
150 foot on hyzer, that was me.
My forehand game doesn't get mentioned a whole lot, and there's a reason for that. But one of the like most popular videos I did was a response video to like Iceberg TV's. He did this 130 gram Mamba, I think, which is like like a really understable 11 speed. -5 is the turn on that. I think.
I've seen that thing.
I bag a Mamba.
Not 130 grams though.
Not 130 grams.
And I did a video on this, and I basically I'd been doing it enough time that I was like, I'm comfortable now. I'm like, I'm not a pro. Like, we need discs that are going to work for us and that are going to allow you to get fun lines, experience the game in a fun way. And that video was probably one of the top performing videos I've ever done. And it was like, wow, like, people actually do. They want to see videos that they can relate to. They want to see people throwing a disc, I want to see how a destroyer flies, Calvin's fun to watch. Like, throw that eagle, throw that destroyer. I want to see that. But if I'm thinking about buying a disc, I actually want to see someone throw it 300 feet, because I want to see what that flight looks like. And, that's why all of this is so valuable.
Definitely.
On that topic, I want to give a shout out to Miles of Discs, because every Monday he does a disc review.
Yep.
And he has to throw and show you what it's like on a flat release, on an anhyzer, and on a hyzer release.
Yeah.
So, he has to record himself throwing those discs every time for every disc he reviews, right? So he's putting himself out there. So, like you said, I always kind of rib him, because I'm like, how many times did it take to throw that?
Yeah.
Because he has to get it to look like what he wants the disc to do, right?
Yes.
Yeah, are those his first 3 throws every time, do you think?
Yeah, I don't think so.
There was a girl that picked up disc golf a couple years ago, and she actually got sponsored by Discraft or Discraft Underground like pretty quickly.
Okay.
And she documented like the whole journey, right?
Awesome.
Kind of Bonanza-ish, but like without the big. I mean, I think she's intending to grow, but she just documented the whole process, the learning, the messy, like the grip locks, the early releases, everything. And her channel blew up because she was just so real, right? That's why reality TV is popular. It's why content like this is popular. People just we like to engage in what appears to be close to reality.
What we can relate to.
Yeah, what's relatable.
Exactly. No, that's awesome. And Ryan, we appreciate you coming on. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you might want to shout out before we kind of let you go and get you back to a beer?
I brought
maybe?
a few things
to
donate, 'cause I know you guys are doing some giveaways tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So I got a local hat for you guys to do a giveaway for. I've got some patches that I gave you guys as well. A local chalk bag.
Oh, my goodness.
And I'll keep the rock, but I actually want to give this back to donate to the chat. Okay. It was the leopard, I think.
Yes.
I think it's the leopard.
Awesome.
And that can go with the patch as well.
Oh my.
Get a few patches there too.
We'll be able to give it all away tonight.
Hook up the chat for people being here, supporting like what you guys are doing in the community. I just want to say thank you to that. If you're looking for any gear reviews of a particular item, I feel like people are usually pretty good in the comments or on Instagram. You can message us at It's Local Disc Golf, at Local Disc Golf on Instagram without the vowel, so LCLDSCGLF. You can find us on YouTube the same way. You got something there?
Yeah, awesome.
And so check us out. We're doing obviously tons of glow stuff. tons of gear reviews, disc racks. I saw Joe just did one for, is it Candy Disc Golf or Disc Golf Candy? Anyway, so much good stuff. So many people coming to market with like unique items right now. It's a fun time in the sport to support those. And just one last thing to mention with the holiday, gift guide idea thing. We did a video last year for that. So you can check out that video. Maybe I can drop it in the comments after. And but the best thing that you can do if you're not sure, get into your local shop. Most of them offer gift cards. Support your local shop. Get out there and support these brands that are doing these things. And that's when we support local. Everyone wins basically. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I got a few things. First thing. Do you have a spare one of these? Like, can I have one of these?
Of course.
I don't want to take it away from the chat, but I want a patch.
I got a bag in the car.
Okay.
Give that one away. I'll bring you one back in.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Second, we got a question from the chat.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is a really good question for you.
Sure.
So, do you think we've missed the big boom of disc golf content? Like hitting 30,000 followers on disc golf content accounts? Will that still keep going? It was such a big boom from COVID. Is the content sustainable?
Well, so it's kind of a loaded question, but it obviously we're seeing a bit of a like level off right now, as I kind of mentioned from like the Innova thing that I was talking about before. Joe and I were just talking about like, how do we keep the growth happening? Because we love creating content, we love doing this stuff, but right now it's not sustainable enough to do this right now. So I do think it's still growing. Like subscribers continue to go up on all of these accounts. Maybe it's not quite as fast as we want. And I think that's the piece that has me so excited to be working with Uplay a little bit right now is, they're grassroots. If you've ever seen their ads on Disc Golf Network, they're in schools, they're in the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Clubs, and they're making a conscious effort to bring pros at these local tour stops to do these clinics. There's great sponsors involved with those as well. And I think if we can, continue to grow it, even at my own school right now, I've got a disc golf club. I'm doing disc golf in my own class with my grade 5s right now. I don't think they'll see this, but shout out to my grade 5 class. And one of my students even this year when we started doing disc golf, she said, "Oh, my dad plays." And I was like, see, it is happening. It is, the wheels are turning, but doing more to support the Uplays and these groups that are growing it at the grassroots level, it will grow and it will become sustainable. I do believe that. It's slowed down a little bit, but everything is kind of slowed down after. Things can't do this and without a little, it's ebb and flow. It's going to happen a little bit. But I don't think, listening to Hunter on Grip Lock the other day, he kind of talked about that, things aren't growing at the pace they were, but they're still growing, right? We're still seeing that growth. It's just not at the pace that it was, and that's okay. That we're still going in the right direction. We have a sport that's so accessible, it's so affordable at a time where things are becoming more and more expensive. My wife says, "Well, you spend a lot of time on this disc golf stuff and these videos, but it's not costing us a lot." So it's so accessible. Once you have a disc, you can go play, which is why we're seeing these efforts from like the Paul Macbeth Foundation and outfits, in other countries around the world. Once you have your disc, it's essentially the soccer ball, right? It's just, you just need that one disc to start and it can go. And I think that's the fire that will allow it to keep growing,
Absolutely. A couple more things. Do you want to shout out your school? Grade 5.
Sure. Prairie Waters in Chestermere, Alberta. Shout out to them. I got very lucky. I got transferred this year to this school, and literally the very schoolyard next door from my classroom, there is a 9-hole course.
Really?
Yeah. Shout out to Westermere Disc Golf Course. My class is using it, and I am. And if you're a fan of the sport, start to commit to growing it. That's what we need. We need the sport to grow. You can be stoked about it. You can meet up with your buddies, but when that person walks by the course, Alex Penny, who I think you're gonna maybe have on in a minute here. Sorry to spoil the surprise here, but I've been out with him, seen him with like an extra disc in his bag that he just carries, in the event that someone's walking by that he can just like share the sport with or talk to. James Koizumi as well is always listening to the newest golfer, hearing what they have to say about because we can nerd out together about our shots or our scores and things like that, but if we could turn some of that energy back, to our nieces, nephews, kids, or, getting it into those like junior programs and volunteering, that's where this sport needs to grow.
Yes, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it. If we can get it get discs into the kids' hands and get them to learn about the sport when they're young, they'll see such rapid improvement, and that will just help grow the game as well.
Yeah. Check out uplay.org. They're doing really good things in the sport. Yeah.
Sure. In regards to the giveaway,
Yes.
I don't want to put it all on you, but is there a question that you might have in regards to like the previous video that you might have released?
Sure.
If we wouldn't
I'll
put
keep it super simple because we have a few things
We're
here.
going to put it in the chat for a comment. Maybe that will force people to go back and check out one of your videos to try
Sure.
and get one of the answers.
Well, I think I'll make it even simpler than that.
Okay.
All right. How about first people? So there's the leopard, the hat, the chalk bag. A patch can go with each of those.
Okay.
And then what did we have? 5 patches? Or is there 5 there? Yeah.
One for the disc, one for the patch, one for the...
Okay, so 3.
Yeah.
How about first 3 people to share their favorite video?
Okay.
Just their favorite video from local disc golf.
Yeah.
Like a must-see or one that they enjoyed.
And maybe what they can do is when they share that, they can tag Chain Out in that video. Would that be the best way, Daryl?
Yeah, either tagging us or putting it in our comments.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Awesome. We appreciate everything you're doing, Ryan, and you're always so willing to give us your time. So thank you.
I believe what you guys are doing. It's amazing. So thanks for having me.
Just on that topic there, just a shout out from Brendan in the chat, BR Disc Golf. They're trying to donate a set of discs and baskets to one school every year.
Oh, I love that.
If we can get that into the young kids, like I've said to the Edmonton Disc Golf Association before, like what does their youth program look like? Like what are we doing to get it into schools? Because I think that's where the growth is.
Yes.
All the people that are retiring, yeah, okay, they might be getting into it. They're looking for a less impact sport than golf. But if we can get the youth and get the young kids into the sport, I think that's just going to grow it in the future, right?
100%.
There's nothing better than seeing like a family out playing, right? Like it's just like, this is, quality time. It's, all those things. I was just sharing that like, this fall I was watching the MVP Open on the weekend, Saturday morning, and my 4-year-old goes, "Is Missy winning?" And I'm like, I hooked her, like
There you go.
my 4-year-old knows. I mean, no surprise, right? Like local, obviously, like his kids are doomed, right? Like ball golf is the alternative golf for my kids. They're gonna, probably get made fun of in school, but
Well, you know what? It's the same thing as I always want to do with my kids, and that was have them listen to the Weird Al Yankovic songs first, so that when they heard the real ones, they had thought somebody covered Weird Al Yankovic. Teach them the same way.
That's
Teach
the
them
best
disc golf
analogy.
First, so that regular golf are like, what is that? Why are they ripping off disc golf?
there's never been a better analogy or comparison of like what I just said. Yeah, we are the Weird Al of.
We are.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Fantastic.
Okay,
Well, thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you guys. Cheers. Have a good one.
thank you so much.
Daryl, I love talking to Ryan.
Oh, man.
Love it.
Great.
And like you bring all these different items to show us. Like I think I want every one of those things for a Christmas gift.
I know people in the chat have already been, earmarking the glow box.
Yes.
When other things that we've seen, if you get one of those UV lights, I know I've played glow with you before.
Yes.
You charge it up, you throw a couple holes, not even a couple holes, maybe a couple strokes.
Yes.
And you're charging it up at the next tee pad.
Well-
Something that can last 4 or 5 rounds.
That's amazing. And on top of that, too, the other thing that I find with that, and I've played a couple blow rounds recently, was you've got to like move your face away because all of a sudden you blind yourself.
Exactly.
And now, sure, your disc is glowing,
Yeah.
but you don't even know where you're throwing. So if you can put it in,
Yeah.
and then when you pull it out, it's full of glow.
Yeah.
Then you're ready to go. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I know we've got a lot of gifts to go, but I kind of, me with my schedules. I give Alex the time. I want to get him on here, but we'll give away some more gifts as well. We've already got these 3 giveaways
Those
done.
are for the chat.
Yeah, those are for the chat.
Nobody in Calgary wants any more local disco stuff. So
That's all right. So we'll take care of that.
yeah. What else are we giving away?
Well, I think what we could do is what we have now is our guests that are here. we probably have enough giveaways to give to some of the guests here, unless you want to ask another question just to see who gets what. What are you thinking?
I mean, we've got lots of gifts, so we can do whatever you want to do. We can do some for the chat. We can do some more.
Why don't we do one for the live people here? Let's do the KC Hannemeyer, do you think? And maybe with the BR Disc Golf?
KC and a sticker?
Yeah. And a sticker? So let's do that one out there.
Okay.
And
So for the chat, I mean, we're just for the chat here, but we're going to give this away. We've got a Casey Hannemeyer cap. We have a BR Mini. And we're even going to throw in a BR Disc Golf sticker as well. So tell me the question.
so the question for this one's a pretty easy one, but we're going to say that Alex is not going to be able to participate because he's already won. Right? And Ryan's already won.
Okay.
So it's going to be for Joe, for Thomas, and for Brody. And it's an easy question. And I think we should put it to the chat. And what I want to do is give me the Limber disc as well. So we're going to do the same question. They're going to guess, and they're going to get this prize. And then the chat can guess and get this prize. Okay. So trivia's coming. We're getting a chant for it. So here it comes.
It's getting rowdy here.
Yeah. All right. So what I have, and the question is.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
already mentioned this tonight. So if
Yeah.
people have been
So this one, if you've been paying attention, we have a Limber Open crate that came from the Limber Open this year. And what we got with that is we're going to give
Okay.
that one away to you listening
for you
here.
guys,
And then we also have a BR Disc Golf sticker. And the way we're going to give this away is with this question. First
have
person in
a
the chat
BR
to put
Disc
the
Golf
answer.
Mini.
And what it is what
And
place
a
did
BR Disc Golf
Team
sticker.
Canada
Jeremy
get
has
at
already
the
made
Whiff
the decision
Diff
that Ryan and
Team
Alex
Disc
can't win
Golf
because you've already won.
Championships in Australia? So that is
So
the
the
question.
question is,
Put your answer in there.
what
The
place
first person to get that
did
answer
Canada
correct
finish
is going to
in
get
the
this
recent
sticker,
Whiff
this
Disc
BR
Golf
Disc Golf
Tournament?
sticker, and this Limber
There
Open
you go, we have a
crate.
winner. Brody won.
Oh, and then in-house here, Brody won the Casey
We
Hannemeyer
mentioned it. We mentioned it earlier.
hat, and he also won a BR Disc Golf Mini. And you know, the other thing about it that we heard is that Brody is actually changing his whole bag to Prodigy. He met Sam Western in Red Deer where they didn't exchange, and Sam was able to get him all of his Prodigy. And not only that, they played 8 different courses in one day in the Red Deer area, and then they came back up to their respective homes. So I think getting a Casey Hannemeyer hat, knowing that Casey is sponsored by Prodigy, is going to be something Brody's really going to love, hey? Yeah, definitely. And we've got our next guest who, I'm going to get into the intro here, but I think we can add the most patient person as well. Do you think?
I mean, when we're live, we're still kind of, we have a script, we have a schedule, we know where things are going. Tonight, it's the lunatics running the assignment.
Something like that. Yeah, we're everywhere. So all we have to say to you is the nicest guy in disc golf, and you probably already know who we're talking about. If that wasn't enough, let's add tournament director, moderator / admin on Canadian Disc Golf Hub, Calgary Disc Golf Association, director of community growth. We put all of those on the list, and also the organizer of the Limber Pine Cones that I was lucky enough to be a part of. Oh yeah, and he has an amazing partner and a full-time job. Let's welcome Alex Penny to the show.
Fellas, how you doing? Good.
Good. Thank you so much for coming down. You also braved the weather. Did you not know it was snowing before you dressed, or did you just know how warm it gets in here?
If I had known how warm it is in here, I would not have been wearing a hoodie. But I'm definitely a shorts all year round guy, unless the snow's too high where I have to disc golf in boots and pants.
Yeah, there you go. So when we mentioned before, we said that we had Ryan on, and his first time on the show with us was on a Fantasy Picks episode. Taking a look, you also had a chance to join us for one of them as well.
That's
And
right.
that was for the 5th A tier, which was Falcon's Flight, and we had another night of good picks. You managed to tie Daryl, and I think get one of the first win. It was actually the second win for Team Guest, and I think you were no chain, no gain.
No chain, no gain.
And there was just one little tiny thing that happened. That was Joe injuring herself. Otherwise, I'm sure you would have had it in the
That's
clear.
right. Then it would have been a clean sweep for the guest, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Next year, maybe.
Well, another.
Yeah, that's it. Next year, we've already said that we're going to get Ryan on again next year.
Yeah.
I think it would only be fair, and we would love having you back on if you would accept.
Absolutely.
We're definitely going to be doing a season 2. If you would be kind enough to be on next year, we'd love to have you back on again.
Absolutely. That sounds excellent.
Nice. Another thing with that too, Alex, we've been talking about is we're really going to find a way to engage the listeners, whether it's through an office pools. Actually, we had someone tell us recently that they're actually, Dylan, our listener and Patreon member and everything else he does to support us. And you know Dylan as well,
yes.
right? Yeah.
I know Dylan very well. Such a great human being.
Yeah. So he's working on crunching together some sort of easy to use setup that the listeners can be part of it and pick their teams nice and easy as well.
Season 2 is going to be way better than season 1. That's
And
what we're
season
gonna say.
1 was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I won.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe we'll get a little better
There you go.
opportunity to compete there. But not only that, you were down at Falcons Flight, and you were also part of the, because there's more of a TD group for that. Is it like it's a committee?
That's right, yeah. So, Falcons Flight has, of course, the TD of record, which was Don Annett this year again. But, behind an A-tier, there's a large group of team members that really make it successful, and that was Falcons again. So, I was part of the organizing committee with names like Kerry Neal, Jordan Alway, Don, Howie, and so many more that really made the event run so smoothly and so successfully.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people, like we've heard about, who was it who mentioned it to us, Daryl, who said 5-to-1 was the ratio?
That was Carrie Neal.
Carrie Neal.
Carrie Neal mentioned that.
Oh, it was Craig Sheether.
Craig Sheether, yeah.
Who won the
Volunteer of the Year.
Yeah, he mentioned that's one of the things that he lives by is that your 5-to-1 ratio. For every 5 tournaments you participate in, you volunteer for 1.
That's right. And I think what I wanted to bring it up is, Alex, did you have it backwards? Because I think it feels like you play 1 and then volunteer TD and stuff for 5.
This year might have been a little bit skewed. I think I was probably pretty close to that 5-to-1 ratio the other way. But I think, in disc golf and everything else, it's really important to volunteer and give back wherever you can. So, outside of disc golf, I try to volunteer with Big Brothers Big Sisters, volunteer in my community, just ways to make an impact. And it's not necessarily always through playing and doing, but just taking that time to give back and, to see the success and the joy in people's eyes when you can put together something where they get to experience enjoyment is great.
That's awesome. One of the things that I think having you on here and asking about is a lot of people probably have an idea. They might they hear these conversations and they'll say, I want to do something and I want to try to help out. Is there any suggestions you could give them as the best way that they could get involved in maybe volunteering in disc golf? Like obviously maybe talk to a tournament director, but what about if as we were talking, is bringing disc golf to kids or bringing disc golf to other people? Is there like Brothers and Sisters would be one organization for sure?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Big Brothers Big Sisters, if you're a parent out there who's disc golfing, there might be an opportunity to get involved with your school. So going out to a school and spending a morning offering your time to teach a couple classes about proper etiquette of disc golf, how to hold a disc, and maybe how to throw a backhand or a forehand, and just getting involved that way. I think the biggest thing is just find a need and find a way to fill it. So whether that's getting out involved with your local club or reaching out to a tournament director like you said, Jeremy, I think that's a great idea.
Great. And then also, not only did you do all of that, as I mentioned, you kind of led us young pine cones in our journey throughout the year to become saplings and maybe trees, and that was awesome. How did you feel about being part of that group this year?
It was great. It was an awesome experience. It was great to cheer on all of the pine cones and celebrate their successes and find ways to encourage them, whether they're having the best round of their life or maybe not so much. And I think on the course it really showed. I tallied up the numbers today and we had 698 birdies or better as the pine cones, which equates to 698 trees planted. So, the pine cones and limber are doing a great job to make an impact.
698. 8 of those were yours.
Yeah, I think I might add a couple more. But The one thing about that too, Alex, was I was surprised to know that you had a full-time job.
Yes.
Because I was always seeing that you were doing all these different things. And one of the things, as he said, is supporting the team. I came down here to play in a tournament. He took an afternoon off. He took me out and showed me how to play the course that I'd never played before.
Right.
He made me pump my tires so high that I was like on cloud 9 into the next tournament. And I watched him do that time and time again for every tournament. He was watching where we were. He'd see us at the end of a round and say, good round, or give you the words that you needed. Right? He'd be like, so, if somebody maybe shot a really high score at Falcons, if they were on the team, he would have really given you the courage to come back the next day. But no, I really appreciated that because I felt like I was part of a team, even though I was located up in Edmonton and a lot of it was based out of Calgary.
And that's the big goal. I mean, we want to make sure that everybody feels like they're part of the team no matter where they're located. And, we're super fortunate to have you on the team. And, I was fortunate to get out and play some rounds with you and play that round at WJ, even in some brand new shoes. I had to buy some on the wave as I forgot mine at home.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
He's committed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not on the team, but I know one thing that just sticks out in my memory from you was at Falcons Flight, where I was wearing a detailed jersey that I have that it has my PDJ number on the back, and stepping up to hole 1 on East course, Alex said, I know you've got a lot of numbers on your back, but you're number 1 in our hearts, Daryl. And I just remember that, and I don't think I had a great round, but it stuck with me at least for the first few holes.
Just keep you positive, right? That's the big goal.
That's what it's all about. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And I think that's the big thing is, even when I'm playing on a card, I want to be described as that guy that's cheering on my card mates and encouraging better disc golf, because I feel like I play my best disc golf when everyone on the card is having fun. And I think, you've had some guests on like Miguel who mentioned that, tapping the basket, things like that. So, I try to inspire myself to live that way as well.
And you're definitely doing it. We appreciate you for it. Well, and let's maybe talk a little bit about it. You still did manage to play. You got 3 tournaments in here. But then, so you had the 3 tournaments played. How many do you figure you volunteered or you TV'd at?
Probably close to 10 events.
To 10, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And when you were playing, it actually worked out pretty good because I was looking, and last rating day or at some point here, you jumped up 8 points to 926.
That's right. Yeah. I had a great start to my year. Played the NAGGT event in Lethbridge. Did pretty good there, and then was able to take that and go into spring runoff and shoot my 3 highest rated rounds ever consecutively. So that was that great accomplishment for me, and I just played my type of disc golf, which is boring and consistent, and it worked out well for the weekend, and the scores reflected. So that was awesome for me.
That's awesome. Well, with that too, Alex, what are you thinking then for next year? I know you're always going to be committing your time and volunteering, but what does it look like on your actual playing side? Do you have some tournaments earmarked or thoughts for it?
I think so, yeah. I think my goal next year is to play at least 10 tournaments. I'm going to try and travel a little bit, so I want to play, of course, Falcons Flight, Spring Runoff, Lost Egg in Alberta. But outside of that, maybe Gold Eagle. Maybe getting out to BC, to either the BC Open or TCO. And then I have larger than life in the Yukon earmarked, so hoping we can make that a reality.
Yeah, that would be an awesome one to play. I know we spoke to the Park Pro boys about how much they've traveled. We've covered the A tiers in the Fantasy League, but when we talked to Matt about the fact that they've been to BC, they've been to Whitehorse, they went to PEI as well. Yeah, like they've really traveled. So definitely getting up to the Yukon there would be a dream. I don't think we'll get to it next year, but it would definitely be a nice tournament to play for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, Falcons Flight, always a great one to go to that way. Have you put, we asked Joe earlier there, do you think Ontario's in that, or the Nationals in Ontario would be one you'd be interested in? Or?
It's something I'd consider. I've seen a lot of updates on both Project 15 and Oak Goat, and both courses look incredible. They look like it's my kind of disc golf, a little bit through the woods where not necessarily having that 500 feet of power will give you a chance to compete. So it's something I consider, and maybe try and swing for 2025.
There you go. Well, the other one that we had, when we talked to Carrie Neal most recently on the Patreon episode, she had kind of let us know that an idea that she had for TCO has come to fruition. And what will happen this year is the AMs will get a chance to play the 3 days. They'll be offset 1 day from the pros.
Thursday, Friday,
Awesome.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Is it 4 day?
Yeah, it's a 3 day.
Oh, it's a
so
3 day.
Thursday, Friday,
Thursday,
Saturday,
Saturday.
the AMs will get to play, and then the pros will play Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Awesome.
And that's going to give that opportunity for the AMs to go out there and get a chance to watch the Thomases, the Caseys, the Noahs, as well as the Terry Hongs and the Joe Hendersons play, and actually celebrate with them, maybe follow some cards. And I think that's going to be a great addition, and maybe more A-tiers will think about that in the future.
That's a great idea, and I hope they do. I mean, it's so cool to see the big crowds following, not only the lead card, but all of the pro cards, and, seeing the positive encouragement and the level of play go up when there is people watching. So it'd be great to see.
And we mentioned it when we spoke to her, is that there's a lot of people that are playing that actually want to go and follow those pros.
That's
Like,
right.
It's great to play in the event. It's great to play these great courses, but if your round doesn't finish in time and maybe you're on a different course, so you can't get to watch the MPLs or FPLs play. But having that day staggered like that just gives you that opportunity, right? So,
for sure.
So looking forward to it. I know we said when we spoke to her, the downside to that is maybe that as an AM trying to get into that tournament, you have to take the Thursday, Friday out to get into the tournament. But if you can't take out an extra long weekend once in a while, I'm sure we could all swing that.
Yeah, we can make it happen.
Yeah, I think it's well worth it. I mean, to be able to enjoy the full experience of a tournament and not just go play some disc golf, but to see all the other aspects of it is so rewarding, and definitely something you should do.
Definitely. Now, another aspect we've never had a chance to talk to you about, and it's becoming more and more applicable right now, is that we just recently had the Edmonton Disc Golf Association AGM.
Yes.
And at the AGM, there were some board positions that came up to be voted upon and be selected for next year. And one of the Chain Out members, this guy over here, ended up taking on the role of communications, right?
Let's
Or
go.
member at large communications. Now we know that you're part of community growth. What can you give as advice maybe to Daryl? I'm trying to help him, man.
Give me some tips of how to, I know the Edmonton Disc Golf Association, we've already started the group chats. We're already getting the welcomes from everybody. You're welcome with open arms. Let me know how to ingratiate myself into the team. What can I look forward to?
I think the biggest thing is you can get so much done playing around a disc golf. So I know you were mentioning that you're going to play a little less winter disc golf this year, but getting out for a round or going to someone's garage to have a snack and putt a little bit in the garage, a lot of work can get done there. So don't just save it for the board meetings. There's always something that you can be talking about and fulfilling. So
Yeah, that's a great bit of advice. I like that.
For sure. And if we were to go more specific, because one of the things that I think about is that the way disc golf gets better is when TDs come together and they talk about tournaments together and how to make them better. And I would expect that it's the same thing with the boards as well. Like Edga's a great board, Cadga's a great board as well, right? So what would be some of the things that you found to make your community grow as well as it has, and what have you contributed that way?
Yeah, I think what I've tried to contribute, especially in the last year, is finding events that are low cost, easily accessible for anybody to get out and play. So, we've ran 3 get in, get out, get rated, very similar to what they've done in BC, very successfully. Right. And I know Kristen in Edmonton ran one just recently in Wetaskiwin that looked very well attended. So, activities and events like that are great to see. And then just, finding other events that necessarily doesn't need a PDGA number, but are community-focused events. So, Luke Leadall, one of our Pinecone members, ran the space race here in Calgary. He ran the Trilogy Challenge earlier in the year. Incredibly well attended, and it was a great way to bring all skill levels into the community and see the benefits that disc golf offers. And even throughout the summer, we've had a mentorship program, the beginner program, where we introduce new players to disc golf, and have been able to take that and put together small little tournaments and events. My most recent, or my first get out, get rated event, I had a full card of people from the beginner clinic. don't have a PDGA number. They wanted to try a competitive tournament for the first time, and it was a relaxing enough atmosphere. They didn't feel intimidated to do that, so that was great to see.
That's fantastic. Yeah, those are some great ideas, and we really did enjoy that Get In, Get Out, Get Rated. Kristen did a fantastic job with it, and it really felt, as we've talked about, is when you've been in disc golf for a while, or if you're brand new to disc golf, so the people who've been in for a while, maybe you don't need a big player pack
That's
at
right.
every tournament. You just want to go out and play and have a competitive time, and then if you're brand new to disc golf, you might want that low-cost opportunity to try it, right? So it's a great way to do it.
Yeah, and I mean for 2025, I'm looking at running probably 15 Get In, Get Out, Get Rated events.
Really?
Two a month from March to October. And, doing it as a low cost, so it's going to be a very minimal players pack, but it's an opportunity for you to boost your rating, to play a course that you might not before. And the great thing is we're looking at doing most of these as flex starts.
Okay.
So you can get out with a card of your friends, even if you're not in the same division, and play together in a competitive setting, and hopefully encourage each other to shoot your best along the way. So that's what we want to see is, card mates getting out, maybe meeting new people if you're just showing up to the course and getting put on a card with some other random players. But just the opportunity to get out and get some rated rounds and get some experience in the tournament so you feel comfortable to go to an A tier like Falcons Flight or TCO or Spring Runoff, which is a new A tier for 2025.
That was one of the great things about that Get In, Get Out, Get Rated that Kristen ran, is that she borrowed an idea from Wally O'Valley, is that in the first round, it was a mixed division card, right?
Yes.
So I had Terry Hong on my card,
Cool.
FPO, and I had Mark Thompson, MA1 or MA2, and me and MA40, right? I know that was the way throughout the cards on all the first rounds. So it's just another experience of being able to mix with other people that you don't normally get to play with in those sort of tournaments, right?
And get to see Terry's lines right up close was probably a thing of beauty, hey?
Yeah.
That's right. That's awesome.
Well, that's good. Well, that's great on the community side. One other thing that people might not know about you is we kind of talked about discs a little bit there, that you get them in players packs and stuff. You have quite a healthy little collection, do you?
I do. I've done a good job this year kind of thinning out to mostly what I throw, but I will very proudly admit that I have probably 45 to 50 P2s at home. So
just P2s?
Just putters. So, I got a bunch of practice with. I have a bunch set aside for when I need to rotate some new ones in the bag. But the majority of my discs are probably P2s.
Well, I was thinking of that because I've heard that, you've had a chance, just again, this is just going on to Alex's nice and gracious nature. He'll hear somebody talking about a disc that they might be looking for or that type of thing, and then all of a sudden, the next time Alex and that person meet, that person Alex puts that disc in that person's hand.
Yeah, we've heard that from Dylan for quite a bit, right?
Yeah. So
Dylan's very gracious. He's not quite being totally upfront. Dylan also does a lot for me. He's great about getting me a disc or getting a disc sent my way. He was at the USDGC last year and got a Calvin signed Eagle for me. So it's definitely a give and take, and I'm super appreciative for disc golf to meet people like Dylan in the community. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you one Dylan story that kind of encapsulates that, and you and him are kindred spirits, I feel, was that we were out at it was Winter League, and I was teeing off with him, and I threw an H2, and it's supposed to turn over, and it didn't. Whichever it was supposed to turn over. It did not. It went straight, and it went in the snow, and we all saw where it landed, and we went to look for it. And he felt so bad that we couldn't find it. He said, "Jeremy, I think I've got one at home. We should have found that disc. The next time we're out, I'll give you one." And I was like, "Dylan, this is not your fault, but that's just
that
the
sounds
kind
like
of guy
Dylan,
he is,
absolutely."
Right? So.
Dylan's actually in the chat, and he reckons that he has a few more discs than you at the moment. So,
good man.
Yeah, thanks to you.
There you go. Well, and while we talk about discs, one of the things I like about discs is, what is your most prized one maybe in your collection that you have, if you had one that was the one that you most admired and was your centerpiece? If you were going to put something under light, above the mantle, which disc would you say?
It is definitely my 2021 Innova Pig. It was the first expensive disc I ever bought, and I fell in love with the Pig so quickly as a new player, and it's been great. I've was fortunate to get an ace at Falcons Flight with it. The first year I played Falcons and actually won MA3. Played events like Lost Egg with it, and it looks like it's kind of been rubbed with some sandpaper going up and down those hoodoos in Drumheller, but it's probably my favorite disc and the disc I would use for a one-disc round any day.
Well, Daryl, you found a pig made its way into your bag as well, has it not?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get an Edgar stamp pig.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's in my bag right now. I like it for certain shots. I don't know if I like it as much as you.
Fair.
But it has a place. So.
That's right. I don't like the Berg as much as you, so we can disagree on some disc selection.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, also too, like when we have you on, Alex, I really want, because of everything that you're doing for the community, I want to make sure there's time for anything you want to add to the conversation. Is there anything that's kind of on your mind, or things that you've been wanting to put out there to our listeners at all?
Myself personally, I like to fly under the radar. So
when we give you this attention,
this is all a lot for me, and I really appreciate it. I think that what I'd like to tell your listeners and the listeners of every podcast, especially ones that Canadian produced, is we're super fortunate to have hosts like Daryl and Jeremy out here every week putting out a podcast, putting out content for us to engage and listen to and be engaged in the chat. I know you guys are working full time as well and taking time out of your days to do the editing and get things ready, running live events, making the drive to Calgary, and it needs to be recognized. So, as much as what we do in the community, it also needs to be recognized how much you guys are doing. So we appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We're working on accepting congratulatory comments like that. And
You're a little bit better at it than me.
So we appreciate that, Alex. But yeah, we love having you on. I think anytime I come down to Calgary, now Daryl's going to probably be asking me for your number.
Oh, absolutely.
Anytime he comes down. But do you have any recommendations for us? We were thinking, I thought Daryl's not played any courses in Calgary. We were talking about it earlier. I'm thinking Baker Park tomorrow. I know there's some snow, but see the most played course in Calgary or in Canada?
Yeah,
much.
Baker's going to be your best option, especially tonight's Wednesday, so Wednesday Glow League is still going. John Peace, another one of the Pine Cones, and his son Jackson are religiously out there, whether it's minus 40 or not. So tomorrow the tee pads will be clear. It'll be pretty tramped down, so Baker would be your best bet this time of year.
Great.
We've heard that from Joe. We heard that from Taylor. We walked over to Lember.
Yes.
Had a conversation with Taylor. He mentioned it would be out of the wind as well.
Absolutely.
So it'd be a great choice. I think I know where we're going tomorrow.
We're going to Baker. Yeah.
Sam in the chat said that he's run into a few pig diehards, so there's got to be something in it.
Yeah, is what he's saying. Yeah.
There is, and on the pig story, there's a gentleman in BC. His name is Mark Wilk. Okay. He probably has the biggest 2020 Ricky Pig collection in the world.
Really?
Well over 150 pigs of the old 2020 pigs, and every year they do a 2020 pig championship where they play around at his private course with pigs only. And I was fortunate to attend it last year. I was in Vancouver for work and was able to attend it during the BC Open.
Yes.
It was a cool experience to see those pig diehards throwing some discs around.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome. We had the Alberga.
Yes.
Maybe we need to do...
I don't know if Alpiga sounds right. I'm sure there's some really good pig puns, but
we can workshop it.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Alex. We really appreciate it, and we can't wait to get a chance to play with you again.
Awesome. I appreciate it, gentlemen. Before I leave, I have something for each of you, and I'm going to go by the color of your shirt. So you both get a lovely USDGC Halo Champ Roadrunner. Now,
no way.
I'm going to warn you, they don't fly like a Roadrunner. It is it's more stable than the numbers say, but it's a great disc, so I hope you both enjoy it.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Alex. You
My
so
pleasure.
Amazing. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I thought we were going to get a giveaway.
Oh,
but they're for us?
That's right. Disc for you guys. I mean, you're giving away lots of great stuff. I got this awesome Limber towel.
There you go.
This even better mini. Look at that chain out mini. That's awesome. It's going to be in my bag next year on the course, so I hope you get to see it out there.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen.
All the best, Alex. Daryl, how has this night been?
It's just been amazing.
It's been so great. Like, look at these days killed it. That Alex is so amazing. And have a Roadrunner USTGC, an Eagle Eye Winthrop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, look at that thing.
Tell me who's in the chat, who's jealous now.
Yeah.
No, this is awesome. Thanks so much, Alex.
So much talent. Now, Daryl, I know I'm going to be putting you on the spot here for a minute, and we are going to wrap this one up, but I do have to get up and excuse myself for a moment.
Okay.
I just cannot sit any longer.
You're leaving me in charge? We still have some giveaways.
Yes, and you can work on those too.
Okay. Are you going to go that way?
I'll go that way.
Okay. I'm going to move over a little bit. So we really appreciate everybody that stayed in the chat. I know it's probably been a little bit of a longer one tonight. What are we at right now? So we're a little over our 2 hours that we normally do, but I think this is a bit of a special episode. We already notified our Patreons that we weren't going to do an around the basket today. Let me just dive into the chat. I haven't had a chance to dive into the chat. I know the chat has been very active. It's been very active, and I haven't been able to keep up with it. I've just been so, loving the guests that we've had on. Everybody that we've had on so far has been just so awesome to chat to, so informative, so, I don't want to say opinionated, but has so much to say about disc golf. The last thing we want is to have a guest on that doesn't actually have too much to say, or we're getting one-word answers out of them. But all our guests tonight, we want to thank Joe for coming on earlier on. We want to thank Ryan Bonner, everything that he did, the disc that he gave, or the disc and the patches that he gave away, and the hat. Thanks to Blake for hosting us here. Such an awesome place, such an awesome event, such an awesome guy. If you're in the Calgary area, whether we're here or not, please come down to Cold Garden, bring your dog, have a beer. We appreciate it so much. And of course, thanks to Alex. It's such an amazing guest. Thank you for the discs as well.
I have literally never.
Okay, so I think what I saw in the chat is that Brock was going to donate the Crave to Sonia, so thank you, Brock, for that. I know I was mentioning to Jeremy when we went over to Limber, we wanted to get a Limber disc, a Limber stamped disc, and the only stamp that they had was on the Crave. And Jeremy handed it to me and he said, oh, here's a Limber stamped MVP disc. And I said, is it a Crave? Because every stamped disc, if you get a giveaway disc, if you get the, if you get your Gyropalooza, if you sign up for your PDGA membership, if you get a disc in a tournament, if it's an MVP disc, it's going to be a Crave. So thank you for that. Sam, I think, won, or I'm not too sure. I'm just kind of scrolling back through the chat here. I want to thank everybody for participating in the chat as well. I know I've seen Tim, I've seen Brendan, I've seen Kristen, Sonia's always in the chat, Brock, Sam, we want to thank you, and Dylan, as always, thank you for your support, and Todd, thank you.
All right, we're wrapping it up.
Jeremy's back, so you don't have to listen to me waffle on anymore, but we appreciate everybody and their time. I think we're going to do some more giveaways.
Are we?
I think we are. We were excited to have Jordan Alway on the podcast. Unfortunately, it turns out that Jordan was a little bit preoccupied, a little bit
Under the weather.
Always under the weather? Yeah, so we would have liked to have had him on, but unfortunately he couldn't make it.
And what do we want to give away?
I mean, we don't have any. Do we have any more people that do you want to
No,
see
we're
if
good.
Thomas wants to
I
come
think
on?
we're really ready to wrap it up and maybe have a beer. And
So we have a Limber Disc Golf $25 gift card.
Right.
We also have a $25 Cold Garden gift card.
Oh, right.
We have the AVR to give away. We have the Destroyer to give away.
Oh my goodness, Daryl. We gave that away.
You got that one back again, right? Yeah. And we have the Leopard to give away. So we have 3 discs, some stickers, and some gift cards.
Did we give away?
And we have the Beast of Resistance. So
We gave these two away.
Nope. That one was
The leopard came back, but we gave those two.
Oh, I'm sorry. Those 2 went in the chat.
Yeah.
So, this is what we got left. We're going to do one mega giveaway? Or you want to split it?
One mega giveaway.
No, let's split it. Let's do that.
Cold Garden, and the Limber, or the Cold Garden and Cold Garden?
Maybe Cold Garden, because then you can fill it up with the Cold Garden.
That works. That's awesome. Okay. Hey, 1 second.
That's so sick.
You think of a question.
I've got a couple questions here. So the mic is good. Okay, you've got your mic back. I've got mine back.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay. Hopefully
So,
you can all hear me
are you
again
ready
now.
for the chat.
Okay, so this is just for the chat. Amber, we were going to have Amber on as well.
Yes.
But not unfortunately,
She had a birthday party for Kyle tonight.
it was Kyle's birthday. So in the chat, can we get everyone to say happy birthday to Kyle?
That would be great.
Yeah, I think we can do that. And actually, maybe if I can just do this 1 second,
All right.
I'm going to do something here, Jeremy.
Okay, what are you going to do?
I'm going to get everybody here to say happy birthday.
Oh, are we?
Okay, so let me just,
Get the camera switched?
let me switch that over to there.
Okay. Yes, perfect. That's right. There you go, Amber. You got Ryan Bonner, Thomas Gurman, Alex Penny, and Brody Jewell has all wished Kyle a happy birthday.
There you go.
There you go. So, Daryl,
'Kay.
we got a question here, and this is the one I've got.
Okay, is this the final? What are we giving away?
You decide.
We got 2 questions left, right?
Yes. And do you want to say, was one of these maybe going into a post, or are they both being given away tonight?
I say we do. I don't know. It's up to you.
Nope.
It's a bit late for
You make a
Instagram.
choice.
Okay, I think that should be. Well, if this is the Cold Garden, then this should probably be to somebody local because they're going to come and use it, right?
Yes.
So we get this one for the chat.
Okay. So for the chat, we've got a $25 gift card to Limber. We've got the leopard that Ryan brought back to us, and we got a couple BR disc golf stickers. So we're trying to show support for everyone we can. And here is the question. You put your answer in the chat. Who is the highest rated MPO in Canada right now?
Highest MPO rated in Canada.
Right now. And who is the highest rated FPO in Canada right now?
So it's a double question.
That's right.
Highest rated MPO, FPO in Canada right now.
Not highest rated Canadian. Not highest rated Canadian amateur player. This is MPO and FPO. I'm just putting time here.
Oh,
There's
okay.
a
I was
delay.
like, I thought you were trying to clarify. I'm
No,
like,
there's not really much to clarify.
highest-
If I can clarify.
yeah,
The
the highest.
MPO
No,
is rated.
no, not yet.
Not even say that?
No, don't even say that yet.
Okay.
Okay, Sonia says Casey and Terry.
No.
Nope, it's
That might be Albertan.
that is neither of those 2 people. So
Nope.
guess again.
Should I give the next hint?
Okay, well let's get a hint.
Okay. The MPO player is rated 1017.
And he has been on the podcast before.
Yes, he has. As well as his sister has been on the podcast.
His sister has been on the podcast. I think you might have given away that. That's a big clue, Jeremy.
Well, to our solid listeners, we hope they get it.
Yeah.
And then on the FPO side,
Dylan guessed Thomas. It's a very good guess,
but it's not.
but it's incorrect, Dylan. Thomas is not the highest rated MPO right now.
Another thing, too, is the MPO recently had a birthday. Or birthday was coming up. I can't
Oh,
remember.
Amber Sophia for FPO.
Oh, we're 50% of the way there.
We've got 50%.
At 945 rated, Sophia Donica
Yep.
is the highest rated
FPO in
player
Canada.
In Canada.
So now we just need the MPO.
That's right.
He has been on the podcast.
He's been on the podcast.
So has his sister.
Yes.
He's 1017 rated.
He recently had a birthday. He hails from St. Thomas, Ontario.
Yeah.
Do we got an answer?
Nope, no one yet.
Not yet.
We're giving all the clues away, Jeremy.
That's right. What else could we say?
Sam has already won, hasn't he? Has Sam won anything?
I don't know. I think he might have, but hey, he's still in the chat at this point.
Are we letting Sam win again? Like we didn't let people win twice here.
That was just Okay, well, you make the choice.
Well, I don't
You
know.
gotta-
Sam's got the right answer.
Both of them?
Yeah.
All right, then Sam, you are the winner. Congratulations.
Sam, you've won a Leopard 3, a $25 Limber gift card, and some BR stickers. I mean, it's pretty good because we can just give them to him when next time we see him.
Yeah, there you go. So there we are.
Yeah, Martin Hendel is the answer.
Perfect.
Sam's won 3 times.
Has he?
Yeah.
Well, that's what it pays to be a listener of Chain Out Podcast. What can
That's
we say?
very true.
So
Okay, we got to keep track of what we got to give away to people.
we'll follow that up later, and I'm sure they'll be in touch with us as well.
Okay.
So,
Is that's your question for the people live here?
yeah.
Who played the most? That's a hard question. No one's gonna know. I mean, we can do it.
Let's give it a try.
Oh, okay. You don't want the actual numbers. You just want the people.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was looking at the question, and I was thinking. Okay, Sam wants to give the leopard away,
Okay.
but he wants the gift card.
All right.
Sam, you can pick who you want to give it away away to.
Yep.
Leopard, understable disc. I know somebody who won it, but I'm not
Yep.
mentioning anything. Okay.
Okay.
Now it's
Switch your
time.
Camera.
Have we got anybody left that can win?
Yes.
Thomas or no? Brody's won. I guess we
You
just
can
give
let
it to
all-
Thomas.
I give them all 4 of them could win. Hey?
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's back up for grabs on this one.
Okay.
'Kay.
We'll do it. And then we're gonna wrap this one up.
Okay, take the laptop.
Okay.
It's hard to get out of here. There we go.
So guys, we appreciate it. This has been quite the episode, one of our longer ones for sure. I'm gonna just rest back here on the couch. And I'm gonna tell you, Cold Garden's a great place, Calgary's a great place. Our support down here is amazing, just like it is up in Edmonton. I can't wait to be able to do a show like this up in Edmonton. Hopefully at Sea Change. And Daryl's just asking the question, let you guys know what the question is for that last giveaway that we're doing in-house here, is who played the most MPO events this year so far, and who played the most FPO events this year so far.
Worldwide or just in Canada?
No, it's which Canadian player, it doesn't matter where they've played, who's played the most MPO events and who's played the most FPO events. But you can correct it if you want. So the guesses so far coming through are Thomas and Sophia. And also Thomas Gourmand's thinking. So we do have some winners, and it looks like they're working on it at the table there to share it, which is fantastic.
They each got 50% of the answer correct.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's awesome, Daryl. Well, come on in here and let's wrap this one up.
Okay.
And I want you, I've said a lot tonight because you've done such a great job on the technical side, and I really appreciate you, man, for making this done.
I appreciate
Done.
you too. Yeah, it was a little bit of touch and go in the beginning.
Yes, it was.
It was whether we would even have an episode, but we worked through the kinks. I'm confident now that the next time we do a remote location podcast,
Yes.
we'll have the mic situation sorted out. That was a bit of a hiccup. We got it. We worked around it.
Yeah.
We had an issue with the camera in the beginning. We worked around it. Wasn't too easy setting it up. We worked around it.
Yeah, we did it.
That's
And
what we do.
So thank you to everyone who was a guest on the show tonight. Thank you to everyone who stuck around. This
Yes,
is,
absolutely.
a big one. We appreciate you. And we got a couple USDGC Roadrunners. Darryl?
Oh man,
We're
so
going to throw these ones, and I'm just going to say it straight out because it's not going to happen. When you get a disc this beautiful,
Yeah.
there's one thing that's never going to happen.
It would
tomorrow
never.
When we throw them at Baker Park, there's no way they
It could
possibly ever.
never ever. Chain out. Thanks everybody.
Thank you.